Chapter 1438. Zhao Fu left this place to the 100 devils, and there were all sorts of important matters for Zhao Fu to take care of. After clearing up the battlefield, Zhao Fu gathered his subordinate. Now that they could not coexist with the Aeolian Empire, Qin would receive a ferocious blow. News of the Aeolian Empire's defeat spread like wildfire, and countless people looked incredibly shocked. They had never thought that Qin had already defeated the unparalleled Aeolian Empire. Just how had they done this? How could an outer domain kingdom be a match for an inner domain kingdom? With its strength, even outer domain kingdoms did not dare to offend it, yet Qin had defeated the Aeolian Empire in a direct confrontation. Yao Ming also looked incredibly shocked and furious. The Aeolian Empire had actually lost. How had the Qin Empire become so much more powerful and had an Emperor Heaven Realm expert? Now, Yao Ming felt immense pressure. Before, he had been happy that he had conquered another world, which was equal to Qin's world. However, in just a short period of time, Qin's strength had become so terrifying, and it was possible that the Devil Horn Empire would not be a match for Qin. Moreover, had any royal kingdoms from the inner domain helped Qin? They had to investigate this clearly, or else Qin would definitely use this opportunity to destroy the Devil Horn Empire. Moreover, the Devil Horn Empire had to enter a state of battle and defend against Qin's attacks at any moment. They could not afford to be careless. The royal kingdoms in the inner domain all looked quite surprised. They had never thought that Qin would defeat the Aeolian Empire and lose to the Aeolian Empire. This time, they had truly underestimated Qin. At the same time, the strength that Qin had displayed made them feel a trace of pressure, as none of them had an Emperor Heaven Realm expert. Now they started to take Qin seriously. For the first time, they did not treat him as a small kingdom that they could casually bully and instead viewed him as an opponent worthy of their attention. A new empire was rising in the boundary. However, the Aeolian Empire had been too careless this time, thinking that they could sweep through the outer regions. Now that they had encountered a tough opponent and suffered heavy losses, the Aeolian Empire would not take this lying down and would definitely gather a large army to destroy Great Qin. At that time, Qin might have to face a real kingdom, and it wouldn't be 4 billion Stage 3 soldiers, but several times that number. With such a terrifying strength, would Qin still be able to resist? The various royal kingdoms felt that it would be quite difficult because even they would have to bear immense pressure and might even be destroyed. Just as everyone expected, the Aeolian Empire was furious. They never thought that a small border country would dare to resist them and cause the loss of nearly 2 billion soldiers. This was definitely unforgivable. The Aeolian Empire immediately gathered its forces and sent out 3 other Emperor Heaven Realm experts to lead the army. They were going to slaughter that small kingdom and prove the Aeolian Empire's might. It was not an existence that a small kingdom would dare to bully. Zhao Fu made all sorts of preparations and came to a room. He looked at the unconscious Feng Wulin and said to Di Shi, the Golden Dragon, "Now that Qin is facing such great pressure, if we can make this Emperor Heaven Realm expert work for us, he will be of great help. Do you have any ideas?" Di Shi shook his head. Di Tian experts had already grasped the power of 10 worlds. It wasn't so easy to control them. Moreover, even if they put him into the Devil World, he would not be able to do so. After all, he was simply too powerful and the Devil World's power was too weak, so they would not be able to turn him into a devil. Unless the Devil World was as big as a world, it would be able to turn an Emperor Heaven Realm expert into a devil. Following this, Zhao Fu held on to some hope and asked Guiji and the Flower Fairy. After all, they were incredibly powerful existences in the past and perhaps they would have some ideas. However, they told him that they did not have any memories of this. This made Zhao Fu feel quite disappointed. Could it be that they would be able to easily kill an Emperor Heaven Realm expert? That would be too much of a pity, as this was an existence that could sweep through the outer domains. What Zhao Fu did not expect was that the woman from the outer world, Hong Mei, had said that she had an idea, mainly because of the insect curse that Feng Wulin had cast. Qin had used tens of millions of insect eggs to cast that insect curse, and the insect eggs were quite suitable for cursing. This made the insect curse incredibly powerful, and even Feng Wulin could not defend against it. Of course, it would be best if there were other Emperor Heaven Realm experts present, as only then would they be able to suppress him. Otherwise, if Feng Wulin went berserk, no one would be able to stop him. The method that Hong Mei suggested was to continue to collect insect eggs and curse Feng Wulin, fusing countless insect souls into Feng Wulin's body, causing Feng Wulin's body to become an insect curse body. After fusing it into the den, perhaps they would be able to control him. It would be best if the person controlling him was someone from the outer world, as they were naturally close to insect beasts and could even control insect beasts. Zhao Fu immediately ordered the outer world Qin territory's army to destroy the den and collect insect eggs and den stones to quickly control Feng Wulin. When that time came, Qin City would have another Emperor Heaven Realm expert. As for the person controlling Feng Wulin, it was naturally Hong Mei, as she was the only outer world person who had submitted to Qin City. Of course, controlling an Emperor Heaven Realm expert was an incredibly big matter, and Zhao Fu felt quite worried about Hong Mei. Looking at her beautiful face and seductive body, Zhao Fu went up and hugged her. Hong Mei's face was red as she looked at Zhao Fu expectantly. Because she had not done it with Zhao Fu for a while, the place in her heart for her husband, Hong Li, had become less and less, and Zhao Fu had become more and more important. At the same time, Hong Mei could tell that Zhao Fu was quite worried, and she wrapped her arms around Zhao Fu's neck as she said flirtatiously, "Husband, I've already acknowledged you. In the future, I won't betray you." Zhao Fu lightly laughed and nodded, brought her into the room, and they started to do it. A while later, looking at the red-faced and panting Hong Mei, Zhao Fu gave a satisfied smile. He had already planted the 6 desires demonic seed within her body, which would allow him to completely control her and help her become more powerful. Right now, she was quite weak and needed to become more powerful. Following this, Zhao Fu collected 15 million insect eggs and 5 den stones. These were not things that Qin had obtained in the outer world, but they were things that Zhao Fu had exchanged from the Heaven Spirit Steel. Now that he had prepared the materials, Zhao Fu immediately started to curse. Time was quite tight, and it was possible that the Aeolian Empire would attack at that time. Zhao Fu once again went to the altar where he had cast the curse. The insect eggs had lost their life force and had become dead eggs, but they were now alive eggs. Chapter 1439. For the next step, Zhao Fu did not need to act. Hong Mei had to do it, and Feng Wulin had long since been placed on the magic formation. Xianru left the center of the magic formation and came to Zhao Fu's side. Hong Mei walked into the magic formation, and her expression became serious. She first tore off Feng Wulin's clothes before taking out a dagger and cutting her palm. She pressed it against Feng Wulin's chest as she chanted a strange incantation. The gray aura in the surroundings started to roil, forming all sorts of insect images. They were incredibly dense and looked quite terrifying. "Insect devour!" Hong Mei lightly cried out before vigorously pressing down, and the countless insect souls flooded into Feng Wulin's body. Feng Wulin, who had been unconscious, once again started to struggle in pain. Beads of sweat continuously flowed out of his body as if he was in immense pain. The countless insect souls were not only devouring Feng Wulin, but they were also fusing with Feng Wulin's soul. This process did not last for long, and Feng Wulin gave a terrifying howl. Following this, Hong Mei took out 5 more insect dens. Under Hong Mei's control, the 5 insect dens floated in the air and gave off different lights before moving towards Feng Wulin and fusing into his arms, legs, and heart. Feng Wulin's body started to go through changes. His eyes became insect-like and a horn grew out of his head. His hands became covered with a black keratin, and it was as if he was wearing a pair of black claw gloves. His aura also became quite strange. "Husband, it's enough." Hong Mei stood up and smiled as she said to Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu smiled and nodded. Because Zhao Fu was unable to control Feng Wulin, he had Hong Mei control Feng Wulin. Hong Mei first had Feng Wulin stand up before flying into the sky and unleashing all sorts of powerful attacks, sending out gales. Not only did his power not weaken, but it even became slightly stronger, and his constitution became much stronger as well. Zhao Fu felt quite delighted. Now that Qin had an Emperor Heaven expert, he had another trump card, and Zhao Fu felt much more at ease. Boom! Boom 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 in the sky, the 9 massive bronze cauldrons gave off intense azure light, causing the weather to change and clouds to swirl. They gave off an aura that seemed to suppress the heavens and earth before exploding, sending out destructive shockwaves. Countless massive desolate crow beasts and desolate crow soldiers were dragged in and turned into dismembered corpses. The shockwaves continuously spread out, destroying everything. With an ice-cold expression, CG ordered an all-out attack on Aragawa province. Countless great Xia soldiers roared and rushed towards Aragawa province like an unstoppable flood. Zhao Fu soon received the news that when the Aeolian Empire attacked Qin, CG also launched a general attack on Aragawa province. At that time, Qin could not even protect itself, so it naturally would not help Aragawa province. More than half of Qin's soldiers retreated, and CG grasped this opportunity to attack Aragawa province. He had to grasp this opportunity because only by unifying the world would he have the power to resist Yao Ming. Only then would he have the right to speak. Otherwise, when Qin was destroyed, Great Xia would be destroyed. This time, he did not hesitate to detonate Great Xia's nation armament. The explosive power not only killed countless desolate crow beasts and desolate crow soldiers, but it also killed 2 important people. One was the king of Aragawa province, Mok, and the other was his son, Moyue. After these 2 people died, Aragawa province lost its leader and immediately fell into chaos. It was unable to defend against Great Xia's attacks at all. Now, Aragawa province also hurriedly followed, and Qin's soldiers retreated back to Qin. From this, Zhao Fu heard about what had happened. Zhao Fu had never thought that CG would actually attack at that moment, and he had not hesitated to pay any price to detonate Great Xia's nation armament. This was not something that an ordinary person could do. After hearing about this, Xueru and her daughter could not help but cry. This matter had come too unexpectedly. Only half of Aragawa province's people had been evacuated, which was around 10 billion people. Qin was currently settling them down, and the remaining half had either submitted to CG or been killed. Your Majesty, you must take revenge for Moyue and my father. I'll give you anything, Henny said as she hugged Zhao Fu and cried. Zhao Fu felt quite helpless as he looked at the beautiful women standing next to him. One of them was the sad-looking Xueli, Xueru's little sister, and there were 3 other women. One had a voluptuous figure and gave off an air of elegance, and she was called Ruali. One had a wild and fiery figure, and she was called Feiyumi. One looked incredibly flirtatious and was called Yi Chi Se. The 3 of them were Mok's concubines. Now that Aragawa province was gone, they had no one to rely on. For the sake of their future, they decided to rely on Zhao Fu. Xueli also looked quite sad. Back then, Mok had stolen her from her husband, and even though she had been quite angry at him, he had spoiled her greatly, and she had slowly accepted him. However, now she had nothing. The only thing she could think of was her big sister Xueru. If she also became Zhao Fu's woman, she would be able to stay with her big sister in the future and have someone to rely on. Zhao Fu did not reply to Henny and slightly frowned. The other women thought that Zhao Fu would mind them, so they took off their clothes and begged, "Your Majesty, please take us in. Your Majesty, can you accept me?" Henny tightly hugged Zhao Fu, her eyes danced with tears, looking quite pitiful. Right now, she could only rely on Zhao Fu to take revenge for Moyue and her father. After saying this, Henny took the initiative to kiss Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu lightly sighed and took off her clothes. Following this, intense sounds came from within the room, and it did not stop for a long time. Husband! Henny's face was quite red as she hugged Zhao Fu and called out happily. She had never thought that doing it with Zhao Fu would be so happy, and all of the pain and sadness from before had disappeared. Instead, she felt incredibly comfortable, and she rejoiced that she had given her first time to Zhao Fu. The other women also looked quite comfortable and did not look sad or pained anymore. Xueli breathed heavily in Zhao Fu's embrace and understood why her big sister was so infatuated with Zhao Fu. Now, she hugged Zhao Fu quite reluctantly, afraid that she would lose him like her two previous husbands. She could not help but say, "Husband," she could not help but say, "Husband, you can't leave me like they did." Hearing this, Zhao Fu smiled as he hugged Henny and Xueli. "In the future, you can stay in Qin City and I'll take good care of you. Also, I might have some matters to attend to later, so please go and comfort Xueru and the others. They're quite sad about this." Hearing this, the women nodded and smiled as they agreed. Chapter 1440. 25 billion soldiers was more than half of the Aeolian Empire's military, as a royal kingdom would at most have 40 billion soldiers. There were already 5 billion wind god soldiers here, and now there were 1 billion left. Adding on the 25 billion that had just arrived, they had 1 billion soldiers. This time, the Aeolian Empire was serious and had sent out 70% of its military to destroy Qin, and it had even said that it would slaughter Qin and turn countless women into prostitutes. After hearing about this, the ancient stem domain's royal kingdoms felt quite terrified. After all, those 1 billion soldiers were all Stage 3 soldiers, which could rival 20 million Stage 1 soldiers. They really could slaughter all of Qin. Who could fight against such a massive army? It would definitely cause a catastrophe in the ancient stem domain. Thinking about that aura that could sweep through the world, countless people felt a wave of fear and their bodies slightly trembled. Qin had truly caused trouble this time. How could a kingdom in the inner regions of the ancient stem domain defend against a royal kingdom in the outskirts? It should have submitted long ago and ceded a world to them. Now that 1 billion soldiers were attacking, what could Qin use to defend against them? After hearing about this, Yao Ming went on his guard and did not have time to worry about CG's matters. He was worried that the Wind God army would not only destroy Qin but also him. In that case, the Aeolian Empire would be the most powerful in this region. After hearing about this, Zhao Fu's expression became quite unsightly. The 3 Emperor Heaven Realm experts were not too bad, as Guiji, Feng Wulin, and himself would be able to defend against them. However, the key was the 1 billion Stage 3 soldiers, which was the most terrifying thing. He had to do something, or else Qin would really die. The journey from the inner regions to the outskirts of Qin was quite long, and even with teleportation channels, it would take 10 or so days. The only thing he could use was this part of the journey. Qin could continuously harass, delay, and weaken the Aeolian Empire's strength. Zhao Fu did not hesitate and brought all of his beasts, as well as the outer world Great Qin's beasts. Against these high-grade soldiers, only the beasts would be useful. Ordinary Stage 1 soldiers would just be committing suicide. Of course, Zhao Fu had also brought a small number of soldiers to set up various things. Whether or not they could stop the Aeolian Empire depended on this operation. For this operation, Zhao Fu also gathered all kinds of people with special abilities and went all out. At the same time, the 3 Emperor Heaven Realm experts led other experts and massive soldiers through teleportation channels. The soldiers gave off a massive aura that shook the surroundings, causing the air to seem to freeze. Countless creatures quickly escaped, and not a single one dared to get close to them. However, they soon realized that something was off. Just as the three Emperor Heaven Realm experts were about to give the order to be on guard, something unexpected happened. Shio shio shio, the sound of the air being torn could be heard as countless arrows shot out from one side, bringing with them immense power as they shot into the wind god army. Countless people were unable to react in time and were killed by the arrows. Some people hurriedly released defensive barriers, but some of the barriers were pierced through. Blood splattered everywhere and the stench of blood spread out. Cries continuously sounded out, stabbing into people's minds. Many people had died and corpses covered the ground, creating a terrifying scene. Before the Aeolian Empire could react, something unexpected happened again. Bang! 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 Blood-red orbs of light giving off terrifying auras shot out from another side and landed within the army, resulting in massive explosions. Waves of destructive power blasted out, and soldiers were sent flying. 100-meter-wide craters appeared in the ground, and there were countless corpses of soldiers everywhere. Organs, severed arms, legs, and heads were all over the ground, creating a nauseating scene. Pained cries sounded out as countless traces of demonic chi rose up from the ground, turning into sharp claws that pierced through countless soldiers' chests and dug out their hearts. Soldiers fell to the ground and died, creating a gory scene. These attacks were launched simultaneously, catching the Aeolian Empire off guard. They hurriedly unleashed a massive defensive barrier to block all of the attacks, allowing the Aeolian Empire to let out a sigh of relief. However, what happened next caused their expressions to fall. Kill. 3 armies rushed out from different directions, giving off terrifying auras as they rushed towards the wind god army, seeming to want to destroy everything. One army gave off dense demonic chi, one army gave off a dense stench of blood, and one army gave off a human aura. They were not weak at all, and they all had stage 3 cultivation. Each army had 20 billion soldiers, which added up to 60 billion soldiers. The expressions of the 3 Aeolian Empire experts fell, and they hurriedly gave the order to retreat. They understood that they had fallen into a trap, and it was a trap set up by 3 royal kingdoms. However, it was too late. The 3 armies had already arrived, and they could only retreat as the soldiers on both sides started to fight. A soldier held a large saber and chopped off a soldier's head, a soldier used his spear to pierce through a soldier's chest, and a soldier used an axe to split a soldier in half. A blood-red tentacle grew out of a soldier's hand and stabbed into a soldier's throat. A soldier gave off a wind-like sword chi that tore apart a soldier, and a soldier roared as he sent a soldier flying with a punch. Apart from the 3 Aeolian Empire experts in the sky, there were 9 other experts around them. They gave off terrifying auras, and were all Emperor Heaven Realm experts. The big man giving off demonic chi laughed as he mocked. "Your Aeolian Empire is such trash. You sent out so many soldiers to deal with a border kingdom. How shameless! It seems that you lost the previous battle." By now, the Aeolian Empire's people understood what was going on. The Aeolian Empire's mortal enemy, the Demon Cloud Empire, had allied with the Blood Spirit Empire and Shinwu Empire to ambush them here. The Demon Cloud Empire had not acted this entire time, and had been waiting for an opportunity to heavily wound the Aeolian Empire. "Everyone, retreat." The Emperor Heaven Realm expert in the lead coldly looked at the big man before leading the 3 others to run. They were now facing 9 Emperor Heaven Realm experts, and none of them were weaker than them. They had no chance of winning at all. The big man coldly laughed. "You want to run? Don't miss this opportunity. Kill them together." The other Emperor Heaven Realm experts and the big man gave chase, and a shocking battle erupted out. The ground cracked, mountains collapsed, rivers were cut, and trees were destroyed. The scene was like the end of the world. Chapter 1441. On the other hand, the 9 Emperor Heaven Realm experts of the 3 empires had only suffered some injuries, some of which were quite serious, but none of their lives were in danger. They had only lost around 2 billion soldiers, and it could be said that they had obtained a great victory. The Aeolian Empire had suffered heavy losses this time. They had lost around 2 billion soldiers and an Emperor Heaven Realm expert when fighting against Qin Kingdom, and now they had lost another 15 billion soldiers and an Emperor Heaven Realm expert. In total, they had lost 17 billion soldiers and 2 Emperor Heaven Realm experts. Each kingdom only had 400 soldiers, which meant that they had lost almost half of their soldiers. They had also lost 2 Emperor Heaven Realm experts, which was not easy to nurture. Not only did it consume countless resources, but it also required people with extremely high talent. Even though there were only 2 people, they had still suffered great losses. Moreover, this matter was quite infuriating because a small border kingdom had dared to offend them and not give them face. As such, they had to ferociously destroy it. Only by slaughtering it would they be able to vent their hatred and prove the Aeolian Empire's might. However, not only had that small border kingdom not been destroyed, but they had also been ambushed by the 3 empires, causing them to suffer massive losses. This made the Aeolian Empire feel incredibly furious and sullen. Moreover, the Aeolian Empire had to go into a defensive state to defend against those 3 empires attacking the Aeolian Empire, and their situation was quite disadvantageous. As such, the Aeolian Empire could only try to ally with other kingdoms to resist the 3 empires. When Zhao Fu and the others arrived, they saw the aftermath of the battle. This place had been razed to the ground, and trees had been destroyed. Rocks were everywhere, and it was a complete mess. Blood dyed the ground blood-red, and there was a dense stench of blood in the air. Even the sky had been dyed blood-red. The scene was quite terrifying, and it was obvious how intense the battle had been. Countless people had died here, and even gods and demons had feared this. Zhao Fu still did not understand what had happened. What had happened to the Aeolian Empire's army that had attacked Qin Kingdom? However, the danger to Qin Kingdom had been resolved, and they did not have to worry about the Aeolian Empire attacking. What surprised Zhao Fu the most was the Type 3 corpses that littered the ground. Almost all of them were soldiers of the Aeolian Empire, and there were no other corpses. The equipment and other valuable items on these corpses had been looted. As soldiers of the inner region, almost all of their equipment was superior silver equipment, and they also had all sorts of accessories that gave additional stats, making them quite valuable. However, Zhao Fu didn't care about those pieces of equipment. The countless corpses in front of him were like a massive treasure trove, because Qin could refine all of these corpses and obtain a massive amount of Stage 3 Blood God pills. These Blood God pills could be given to Stage 2 soldiers to quickly increase their cultivation. That way, Qin would have his own batch of Stage 3 soldiers. As long as he had his own Stage 3 soldiers, Zhao Fu wouldn't be afraid of the Outer Kingdom or the Inner Kingdom at all. With Stage 3 soldiers, Qin would have a chance to fight back. Moreover, with such a massive amount of corpses, Zhao Fu wouldn't have to pay any price. All he had to do was collect these corpses. Not only had the crisis been resolved, but he had also obtained such great benefit. Zhao Fu couldn't help but loudly laugh before ordering people to quickly collect the corpses to prevent anything unexpected from happening. Only after Zhao Fu returned did he understand what had happened. He had never thought that the Demon Cloud Empire, which he had given up on, would act and deal a heavy blow to the Aeolian Empire, indirectly saving Qin. As such, Zhao Fu felt quite grateful. However, Zhao Fu didn't dare to take the initiative to contact them because the Demon Cloud Empire wasn't a good person. He didn't want to help Qin and just wanted to help Qin. The factions in the ancient STEM domain and other domains that had been paying close attention to this matter looked quite surprised. They had never thought that things would be resolved like this. Qin hadn't been destroyed and had escaped a calamity. After this, a remote kingdom like Qin's name spread throughout the surrounding domains. It was the first kingdom that had dared to resist a royal kingdom from the inner regions of the ancient STEM domain and hadn't been destroyed. The strength it had displayed was quite shocking. In the Green Province domain, the poem dynasty knew about this. Shi Shuj and the other geniuses heard of Zhao Fu's name and became quite interested in him. They did not know that they already knew Zhao Fu, and his true identity would make them feel even more terrified. Of course, they would never have thought that this remote kingdom's ruler was that incredibly terrifying and mysterious emperor. After hearing about this, Yao Ming felt incredibly disappointed. He had thought that Qin would definitely be destroyed, but Qin had escaped. He had been incredibly lucky. Now, the Wind God army here no longer dared to be as arrogant and looked down on everyone. They obediently guarded the four worlds and did not dare to take the initiative to attack. After this, the surrounding worlds all let out sighs of relief. Before, they had all been living under the threat of the Aeolian Empire, and they had been incredibly worried and afraid every day. Facing the Aeolian Empire, they had not been able to resist at all. Only Qin dared to resist the Aeolian Empire this time, and countless people in the surrounding worlds admired him. Qin's popularity in the surrounding worlds also rose. As the emperor of the Qin Empire, he received countless people's attention, and many women fell in love with him. Even though they knew that Zhao Fu had countless women in his harem and that his looks were average, they still wanted to follow such a famous genius. After returning to Qin, Zhao Fu gave the corpses to his subordinates and had them refine a portion of them. Now, Qin had 2 billion Stage 2 soldiers, and most of them had not tried the Stage 3 Blood God pill yet. Following this, Zhao Fu heard that a Yin soul beast had been born, so he led some ghost soldiers over to take a look. Most of the 10,000 jars had not given birth to Yin soul beasts yet, and the faster they became Yin soul beasts, the better their aptitudes were. The Yin soul beasts gave off illusory Yin Qi and floated above the jars, giving off a Stage 1 aura. They looked different from before, and Zhao Fu saw a 4 or 5-year-old boy. His body was covered with gray scales, and his eyes did not have pupils, only the whites of his eyes. He looked quite savage. Zhao Fu called over a ghost soldier and made a contract with the boy. 2 talismans appeared on their foreheads before disappearing. After the contract was made, the boy's image fused into the ghost soldier, and a powerful aura came out of the ghost soldier's body. Scales grew out of the ghost soldier's body, and 2 fangs grew out of its mouth. It gave off a ferocious aura, and its strength reached Stage 2. Chapter 1442. Your Majesty, there's been some movement in the outer world. Please go and take a look, a soldier respectfully reported. Zhao Fu was currently looking at the Yin soul beasts, and after hearing about this, Zhao Fu quickly headed to the outer world. Qin had summoned back all of the beasts there, and if there were no beasts to suppress Qin, the consequences would be severe. After coming to the outer world, Zhao Fu looked at Ericina and asked, "What's going on?" Ericina looked quite serious as she said, "There's a group of blood-sucking mosquitoes moving towards the Qin territory. There's a massive number of them, perhaps 3 billion or so, and they're all flying insects. With the Qin territory's current situation, once they attack, the consequences will be severe." Hearing this, Zhao Fu nodded and asked, "Have you thought of a way to deal with them? Also, what kind of insects are those blood-sucking mosquitoes? Have you found any weaknesses? Come with me. Your subordinates are currently researching them, and the blood-sucking mosquitoes have only just started moving. There's still some time before they reach the Qin territory. I just wanted to warn you." As Ericina spoke, she walked towards a place. Zhao Fu looked at Ericina's enchanting figure and smiled as he hugged her and said, "It's all thanks to you presiding over the Qin territory these past few days. The Qin territory has been developing quite well." Ericina rolled her eyes at Zhao Fu and said, "It's not just because of me. Those female generals of yours were also very useful. Later, you need to properly compensate us. Otherwise, if we work so hard to defend the outer world without any benefits, I won't help you." Zhao Fu smiled and nodded, and Ericina leaned against Zhao Fu's body before coming to a room. A few scholars had already dissected a blood-sucking mosquito, and there were a few cages next to it. Qin had been researching all sorts of insects this entire time, and in order to speed things up, Zhao Fu had moved the research to the outer world. Zhao Fu saw what the blood-sucking mosquitoes looked like. They were 1 meter long and were blood-red in color. Their mouths were incredibly sharp and looked like needles, and their abdomens gave off a faint blood-red light. If such a blood-sucking mosquito were to suck a person's blood, it would quickly suck that person dry. It was considered very dangerous, especially when this kind of mosquito appeared in group. Seeing Zhao Fu arrive, the scholars who were researching immediately stopped and respectfully called out, "Greetings, Your Majesty." Zhao Fu nodded and asked them, "Have you researched anything?" The leader of the scholars said, "Your Majesty, we originally planned to use fire to deal with these mosquitoes. After all, the mosquitoes have thin wings, which can be easily burned by fire. Without wings, mosquitoes are almost harmless." It's not just the blood-sucking mosquitoes. All sorts of insects and other creatures living in the outer world are very resistant to fire and light. This subordinate believes that this is caused by the outer world's 8 suns, and that they can be restrained by darkness elemental essence. It's not just the blood-sucking mosquitoes. All sorts of insects and other creatures in the outer world are very resistant to fire and light. This subordinate believes that this is caused by the outer world's 8 suns. If we use darkness elemental essence, we can restrain them. Hearing this, Zhao Fu felt quite delighted. This was a major discovery. Now that he knew that darkness elemental essence could restrain insects, Qin would definitely use all sorts of things that contained darkness power in the future. As the god of fallen angel and a darkness god, Ericina would be very useful. However, Zhao Fu also thought of another person, which was the Darkness Queen Syndra. Even though she was not as powerful as Ericina, she could produce a large number of darkness crystals. Moreover, she was a pure darkness elemental and had a strong understanding of darkness elemental essence. If she could join in the research, it would be of great help. Following this, Zhao Fu called Syndra over. Soon, Syndra arrived in the outer world. After being nourished by Zhao Fu, Syndra's queen's aura had become even stronger, and she was slightly seductive, making her figure even more alluring. "Your Majesty, what business do you have with me?" Syndra hugged Zhao Fu and Zhao Fu as she looked at Zhao Fu with her beautiful eyes and smiled as she asked. As a darkness god, Ericina gave Syndra a lot of pressure. However, Syndra knew that Ericina was Zhao Fu's woman and had served Zhao Fu with her before, so she did not feel as much reverence towards Ericina. Zhao Fu told her about what had just happened, and Syndra smiled and quickly agreed, participating in the research on insects. At the same time, Zhao Fu ordered people to prepare other things. They definitely needed a large number of arrows and all sorts of defensive barriers. Against these aerial creatures, the city walls were useless, so they could only rely on defensive barriers. Moreover, Zhao Fu ordered people to pay attention to the blood-sucking mosquitoes' movements at all times. 3 days later, for some reason, the blood-sucking mosquitoes sped up by many times and rushed towards the Great Qin territory. The blood-sucking mosquitoes that they had estimated to take a week or so now only took 3 days. Before they even saw the blood-sucking mosquitoes, the buzzing sounds shook the sky, causing everyone to feel a sense of fear. They felt as if their ears would go deaf, and they gave off an incredibly dangerous aura. Hearing this sound, countless creatures in the surroundings madly ran for their lives. This was because wherever the blood-sucking mosquitoes passed, no living creatures would be left alive. All creatures would be sucked dry of their blood, and no creature would not fear them. Following this, everyone in the Great Qin territory saw the blood-sucking mosquitoes. They covered the heavens and earth, and it was impossible to count them. Most of the blood-sucking mosquitoes were 1 meter long, but there were many blood-sucking mosquitoes that were 2 meters long. There were also some that were 10 or so meters long, and there were even some that were over 100 meters long. What was even more shocking was that there was a 10,000-meter-long blood-sucking mosquito at the center of the blood-sucking mosquitoes. That was most likely the blood-sucking mosquito king. With such a large blood-sucking mosquito gathering, there would definitely be a king. With so many blood-sucking mosquitoes, Zhao Fu did not dare to let out the beasts and fight with them. After all, they would be quickly sucked dry, and there were simply too many of them. Buzz, buzz, buzz. After the blood-sucking mosquitoes entered their attack range, Zhao Fu immediately gave the order for the insect den wyverns and the summoned saints to attack. There were not many insect den wyverns in Qin territory, only 100 or so. However, each of them was 10 times more powerful than the summoned saint. Massive rays of light shot out from their mouths, bringing with them terrifying power as they shot into the blood-sucking mosquitoes and caused massive explosions. The summoned saints raised their hands, and powerful rays of light shot out into the blood-sucking mosquitoes and caused massive explosions. The terrifying explosive power blasted countless blood-sucking mosquitoes into pieces, and their corpses fell like rain, looking quite disgusting. Chapter 1443. The massive blood-sucking mosquito king stared at Zhao Fu with its blood-red eyes and looked incredibly delighted. It had definitely come for Zhao Fu because it was extremely sensitive to blood, and Zhao Fu was simply too alluring to it. SSS. The blood-sucking mosquito king gave a hiss, and the countless blood-sucking mosquito kings became different and ferociously rushed at Qin. Zhao Fu immediately gave the order to fire arrows. He could not allow the blood-sucking mosquito kings to rush up. Swish, 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 arrows containing terrifying force shot out, tearing through the air and shaking the sky. They gave off a sharp aura that could cause people's hairs to stand on end. Chi, 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 blood-sucking mosquitoes were hit by the arrows and fell from the sky, looking like a rain of corpses. However, many of the blood-sucking mosquitoes were quite agile and dodged the arrows, and they continued to rush at Qin. The blood-sucking mosquitoes that were dozens of meters long and 100 meters long also unleashed their abilities. Their needle-like mouthparts gave off blood-red light as they ferociously sucked at Qin's soldiers. Some of the soldiers howled as their bodies quickly withered. Their blood seemed to be sucked away by a formless energy, and the defensive barrier seemed to be quite weak against that suction force. The massive blood-sucking mosquito king aimed its mouthpart at Zhao Fu and ferociously sucked towards Zhao Fu, causing Zhao Fu to immediately unleash his divine domain. Bang! A massive explosion sounded out as Zhao Fu felt a massive suction force fiercely pull at his body. His blood seemed to want to flow out of his body, and Zhao Fu's body was dragged forwards by that suction force. Zhao Fu did not lose much blood, but 5 or 6 drops of blood were sucked by the blood-sucking mosquito king. After tasting Zhao Fu's divine domain blood, the blood-sucking mosquito king seemed to go berserk and led countless blood-sucking mosquitoes as it rushed over. Its aura was like a surging ocean, giving off an aura that seemed to be able to drown everything as it flooded towards Qin. Seeing the countless vampiric tattoos attacking him, Zhao Fu did not hesitate to use an item specially developed to deal with them. Wooden barrels were tossed into the air and exploded. Countless black flames rained down like a rain of fire. Under the blue sky and white clouds, this black rain of fire had a dark beauty to it. Countless blood-sucking mosquitoes were struck by the fiery rain and fell to the ground. Some of their wings were burned, while others' bodies were set ablaze, giving off a burnt smell. This was a combination of kerosene and darkness crystals. The flames that burned were darkness flames, which were very harmful to outer world creatures. Now that the rain of fire descended, large amounts of blood-sucking runes fell from the sky. These mosquitoes, which were tens of meters long, could not avoid it. Although the scattered flames could not burn them to death, they could burn their wings. Shio shio shio, countless arrows tore through the sky and descended with terrifying power. They were like a rain of arrows, and the blood-sucking mosquitoes that were hit fell to the ground. 10 or so 100-meter-long dragon-slaying ballistae shot out arrows at the blood-sucking Mosquito King. The arrows gave off rays of light as they tore through the sky towards the blood-sucking Mosquito King. However, the blood-sucking Mosquito King exploded out with a blood-red aura flame, causing a terrifying gale to blow the arrows away. Bang! The blood-sucking Mosquito King's 10,000-meter-long body smashed against the defensive barrier, resulting in a massive explosion and causing the defensive barrier to slightly tremble. The other massive blood-sucking mosquitoes gave off terrifying power as they smashed over. The ordinary black flames and arrows were not very effective against these massive mosquitoes. Now, Zhao Fu was no longer afraid because more than half of the ordinary blood-sucking mosquitoes had been killed, and only a small portion remained. These massive blood-sucking mosquitoes could be killed by the beasts, and the soldiers could continue to attack the ordinary blood-sucking mosquitoes. Bang! The massive blood-sucking Mosquito King once again smashed towards the defensive barrier, resulting in a massive explosion. The blood-sucking Mosquito King's mouthpart gave off an intense light as it impatiently sucked at Zhao Fu. This time, Zhao Fu took out the Emperor-killing sword and sent large amounts of divine power into it. He slashed out and a terrifying crescent flew out. It was incredibly sharp and seemed to split the air in half. Bang! The blood-sucking Mosquito King that wanted to suck Zhao Fu's blood was sent flying, and a thin gash appeared on its head. Blood flowed out, and the intense pain caused the blood-sucking Mosquito King to furiously charge at Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu no longer feared it because the other blood-sucking mosquitoes had all been killed, and there was only this blood-sucking Mosquito King left. Shing, shing, shing! Zhao Fu slashed out countless arcs of sword light, bringing with them a massive storm of sword qi as they ferociously slashed towards the incoming blood-sucking Mosquito King. Even though the blood-sucking Mosquito King released a blood-red aura flame to protect its body, it was unable to defend against the sharpness of the Emperor-killing sword. Small wounds were left on its body, and blood continuously flowed out. Boom! The furious blood-sucking Mosquito King's mouthpart gave off an intense light and a dangerous aura spread out. The blood-sucking Mosquito King vigorously stabbed out, and a terrifying blood-red light shot out, seeming to cause the air to explode and causing wild gales to sweep out. Zhao Fu was given a big fright and dodged to the side, avoiding this attack. However, the blood-red light slammed into the defensive barrier behind Zhao Fu, resulting in a massive explosion. The defensive barrier violently trembled, and a bang sounded out as the blood-red light pierced through the barrier, opening up a 1-meter-wide hole. Zhao Fu was quite shocked because this was a defensive barrier that could defend against billions of blood-sucking mosquitoes, and yet it had been pierced through by a blood-sucking Mosquito King. Aracena was now free to help Zhao Fu. She stretched out a hand and countless traces of black divine power gathered in the sky. A massive might spread out as a massive arm stretched out from the sky and slapped towards the blood-sucking Mosquito King. Boom! The blood-sucking Mosquito King was slapped back to the ground, and its massive body caused the ground to violently tremble. Rocks flew everywhere, and dust rose up as a large crater appeared in the ground. Zhao Fu grasped this opportunity, and the 6 gray dots in his right eye quickly spun. Massive chains that were 1 meter wide shot out from the ground, giving off cold power, and they bound the blood-sucking Mosquito King to the ground. The blood-sucking Mosquito King continuously gave off ear-piercing cries and continuously struggled. It was incredibly powerful, and the ground was affected by its power and continuously collapsed. Zhao Fu sent his power into the Emperor-killing sword and continuously slashed out a few massive sword lights, ferociously slashing at the blood-sucking Mosquito King's body. A few massive wounds appeared on the blood-sucking Mosquito King's body, and blood spurted out like a fountain. The blood-sucking Mosquito King's aura weakened and its struggles became weaker. Zhao Fu once again raised the Emperor-killing sword, and a shocking sword qi spread out as Zhao Fu prepared to kill the blood-sucking Mosquito King. Chapter 1444 However, the blood-sucking Mosquito King had taken the initiative to submit, which was quite rare. Zhao Fu thought about it and accepted the blood-sucking Mosquito King's submission. In the next moment, the blood-sucking Mosquito King looked quite pitiful and begged Zhao Fu for blood. Perhaps this was the reason it had submitted. It was for Zhao Fu's divine blood. Otherwise, it would not have submitted to someone from the heaven-awakened world like Zhao Fu. It liked its blood, so Zhao Fu cut his arm and gave some blood to the blood-sucking Mosquito King. Of course, Zhao Fu did not give it away for nothing. The blood turned into blood restrictions and fused into the blood-sucking Mosquito King's body. Zhao Fu could not easily trust these outer world creatures, so he had to leave restrictions on them. Only with methods to control them would it be safe. After the blood-sucking Mosquito King submitted, a small portion of the blood-sucking mosquitoes did not submit and instead ran in all directions, as if they saw the blood-sucking Mosquito King as a traitor. Zhao Fu felt quite surprised. The outer world creatures were simply too hostile towards the heaven-awakened world. A former king had surrendered and was looked down upon by its former subordinates. This was something that Zhao Fu rarely saw in the heaven-awakened world. Blood. I want more blood. Master also wants your blood. A voice suddenly sounded out in Zhao Fu's mind. Zhao Fu looked at the blood-sucking Mosquito King, who seemed to be in pain, and felt quite confused because the voice had come from the blood-sucking Mosquito King. Even though he did not know what was going on, Zhao Fu still came before the blood-sucking Mosquito King and cut his wrist, causing blood to slowly flow out and drip down his arm. As soon as the blood dripped down, it was sucked away by a formless energy and fused into the blood-sucking Mosquito King's body. Boom! A terrifying aura spread out from the blood-sucking Mosquito King's body as a massive blood-red aura flame appeared, sending out shockwave. That terrifying aura made it so that no one dared to get close. Everyone continuously retreated. The 10,000-meter-long blood-sucking Mosquito King continuously howled in pain as its body started to dissolve. First, it was its flesh, then its shell, and nothing was left. It was not just Zhao Fu who did not know what was going on. No one else knew what was going on. Suddenly, within the massive blood-red flames, a woman appeared. She had a perfect face, blood-red hair, and pointed ears. She had a seductive figure, and she wore blood-red armor that only covered her important parts. She gave off an evil and bewitching aura. The woman's speed was extremely fast. In an instant, she appeared in front of Zhao Fu. She crouched on the ground and used her bright red tongue to greedily lick the remaining blood on Zhao Fu's arm. As for the wound that Zhao Fu had just made, it had already healed. After licking the blood off Zhao Fu's arm, the woman looked as if she was enjoying the delicacy before leaping onto Zhao Fu's body and saying coquettishly, "Master, can you give me a little more blood?" Zhao Fu rejected immediately, "No way." Now, Zhao Fu understood that this woman was the blood-sucking Mosquito King. Just now, she seemed to have undergone a transformation, allowing her to take human form. Moreover, her power had greatly increased, becoming several times stronger than before. The woman said unhappily, "Master, don't be so stingy. As long as you give me a little blood, I will serve you, okay?" Zhao Fu rolled his eyes. Even though this woman was extremely beautiful and was not inferior to Aracina, he still replied, "No need." "And what happened just now?" The woman pouted and hugged Zhao Fu as she explained, "That was a blood refinement. Our outer realm insect beasts can take human form, and our power, bloodline, and constitution will all be greatly improved. However, not all insects and beasts can be refined with blood. Not only does it require powerful strength, it also requires precious treasures. This time, I attacked you all for your blood. To me, your blood is a priceless treasure." Hearing this, Zhao Fu nodded and said, "Then take me back to your den." The woman hugged Zhao Fu and said with a look of anticipation, "Master, I'll take you there, but can you give me some of your blood?" Hearing this, Zhao Fu felt quite annoyed and glared at her as he said, If you say that again, I'll seal you here." Hearing this, the woman pouted and became obedient. Following this, Zhao Fu and the others followed the woman to a massive lair that was 1,000 kilometers wide and 10,000 meters deep. There were still some blood-sucking mosquitoes here, but they were quickly destroyed. Apart from this, there were also blood-red insect eggs, and there were nearly 20 million of them. What shocked Zhao Fu and the others was that the den at the center of the lair was 30 meters tall and gave off a faint blood-red light, giving off a powerful might. Apart from this place, there were also dens in other places. They were quite normal in size, and there were 20 or so of them. This was most likely where the blood-sucking mosquitoes gathered, which was why there were so many dens. However, that 30-meter-tall insect den was simply too terrifying. Ordinary insect dens were only 3 meters tall, and a level 1 den with 1 million insects could hold at least 1 billion blood-sucking mosquitoes. Wouldn't that mean that it was a level 1,000 den? Zhao Fu looked at the 30-meter-tall insect den in shock. At most, a wyvern could fuse with a level 33 den, and when fusing, its body would be damaged. If a level 1,000 den was fused into a wyvern, it would definitely explode into nothingness. Of course, fusing a den into a wyvern's body was an incredibly wasteful action. Before, Zhao Fu had been unable to conquer a den, but now that Zhao Fu had Xueji, the woman from before, she would definitely be able to use a denver. In that case, could Zhao Fu nurture his own insects in the outer world? Thinking about that, Zhao Fu grinned and hurriedly asked Xueji. Xueji shook her head and explained, "Master, I'm not sure. Even if I control the den, you won't be able to obtain insect beasts because the insect beast's blood contains disgust, resistance, hatred, and the desire to kill heaven-awakened world people. This is something that our world ruler has fused into it. As such, it's almost impossible for ordinary insects to submit to heaven-awakened world people. Only some powerful creatures can ignore this information. Even if I submit to you, other insects will follow that information and attack you. However, there is a solution. As long as you can obtain something that can change the attributes of the worm nest stone, you might be able to cultivate worm beasts." Hearing this, Zhao Fu felt quite disappointed and understood why the outer world creatures hated the heaven-awakened world so much. Looking at the insect eggs, Zhao Fu wanted to nurture them into his own insects, but it seemed that this was impossible. As such, he couldn't keep these insect eggs, and Zhao Fu thought of a place to use them. Chapter 1445. Zhao Fu took the insect eggs and planned to return to Qin City and use them to attack the desolate Crow world. This time, he had to kill CG at all costs and bring this enmity to an end. However, just as Zhao Fu was about to leave, Aracena stopped Zhao Fu in dissatisfaction. Sun Hanxiang and the other women's faces became red as they looked at Zhao Fu with lustful gazes. Syndra flirtatiously went up and lightly laughed as she said, "Your Majesty, there's something else that you forgot to do." Zhao Fu came back to his senses and carried Syndra and the women into the room, and intense sounds could be heard. Of course, Zhao Fu also had a good taste of Xueji's body, and Xueji moaned under Zhao Fu's body. She had never thought that she would be so happy and obtain even more of that divine power. Afterwards, the women's faces were red as they panted, and Xueji said happily, "Master, I can't always stay by your side as your attendant. I can't always be by your side as your maidservant. I don't want your blood, I just want to serve you every day." Syndra flirtatiously said, "Then, Your Majesty, I'm willing to always stay by your side and serve you as your attendant. Is that possible?" Zhao Fu smiled and rejected them all, and he said to Xueji, "You can stay in the outer world because you're an outer world creature. You'll be of great use here, and I'll come here often." Xueji felt quite disappointed but still nodded and said, "Then, Master, you have to properly satisfy me this time." Syndra flirtatiously smiled as she said, "Yes, Your Majesty." Following this, something indescribable happened. Zhao Fu got up and looked at the unconscious women and smiled. By now, only Erisina still had some strength, and looking at Zhao Fu who was about to leave, she said, "Can't you stay in the outer world for a few more days?" Zhao Fu nodded and said, "I'll leave the outer world to you, I'll make it up to you in the future." A smile appeared on Erisina's face, and she nodded softly. After Zhao Fu returned to Qin City, the first thing he did was gather his army. He split into 2 teams and started to attack the desolate Crow world. At this moment, Yao Ming came back to his senses from the Aeolian Empire and was thinking about how CG had unified the desolate Crow tribe. Yao Ming felt quite displeased because CG had acted without his permission. Yao Ming had treated CG as a chess piece, and now this chess piece wanted to break free from his control. Back then, if it wasn't for Yao Ming's help, he would have long since been destroyed by Aragawa province. Now that he wanted to resist him, Yao Ming wanted to directly destroy CG and use this opportunity to take down the desolate Crow world. CG understood Yao Ming's thoughts, so after taking down Aragawa province, he wrote a letter to Yao Ming, expressing that he was willing to become the Devil Horn Empire's vassal and resist Qin City together. Fortunately, Qin City had not been destroyed, or else CG would not have been able to find an excuse to convince Yao Ming. It was because Qin City had not been destroyed that CG had to rely on Yao Ming's power to defend against Qin City's attack. With his strength, he was not a match for Qin City. As such, he could only choose to become the Devil Horn Empire's vassal and protect himself first before deciding what to do next. Yao Ming thought about it and agreed to CG's willingness to become a vassal. After all, taking down Aragawa province would cause them to lose a lot of their forces, and with Aragawa province joining them, they would be able to reduce some of the pressure when facing Qin City in the future. Moreover, since CG had become his vassal, he had the authority to control Great Xia. Yao Ming could slowly use his own people to infiltrate Great Xia and easily obtain the desolate Crow world without using any forces. Both sides quickly came to an agreement, and their icy relationship became amicable. The Devil Horn Empire once again provided great help to Great Xia. After hearing that Zhao Fu was about to attack the desolate Crow world, they felt quite surprised. They had never thought that Zhao Fu would be in such a rush to attack the desolate Crow world. Logically speaking, with the Devil Horn Empire's support, the desolate Crow world would not be a good place to attack. However, since Qin City was attacking, CG and Yao Ming had to give it their all. CG continuously ordered his people to strengthen their defenses, and Yao Ming gathered his forces and planned to reinforce the desolate Crow world. If Qin City could take down the desolate Crow world, Qin City would have 6 worlds. Qin City's army quickly gathered at the boundary of the desolate Crow world, and they gave off a massive aura that shook the surroundings. Not a single creature dared to stay here. CG had already activated his defensive barrier and did not plan to attack. He focused on defending because the Devil Horn Empire's army had not arrived yet. If he relied on his own strength to fight against Qin City, he would be seeking death. By now, he had gathered all of the people who could fight in the desolate Crow world, and they barely had 8 billion people. However, there were over 10 billion people attacking Qin City. The pressure on CG was immense, and he could only hope that the Devil Horn Empire would quickly bring people over. Zhao Fu appeared in the sky and looked down at CG on the Great Wall. He gave a condescending smile as he said, "Long time no see." CG's expression was cold. This was the first time he had met with Zhao Fu after leaving the human world, and he replied coldly, "That's right, long time no see. Your Qin City is still so barbaric and domineering, infuriating and disgusting." Zhao Fu's smile gradually became cold as he said, "Under Qin City's rule, the human world is heading towards its most glorious era. The Chinese race has become the most famous race, and no one dares to offend them. All of this was created by Qin City. If it wasn't for Qin City unifying the human world would have been bullied and even destroyed by trash like you. CG felt quite furious, but he had to admit that Qin City had already destroyed 4 worlds and become the most powerful faction here. Moreover, they had not even lost to the royal kingdoms within the ancient stem domain. CG could not refute this, but CG wanted to stall for time so that the Devil Horn Empire's people could arrive. As such, he said, "Do you want to know where your little brother is? I can tell you that his opportunities are greater than you can imagine, and he'll definitely come back in the future. When that time comes, there'll be a good show between you and your brother." Zhao Fu's expression became cold as he said, "You're wrong. I don't have a little brother or any relatives. Now that you've successfully angered me, I definitely won't let you escape again." Following this, Zhao Fu gave the order to attack. Zhao Fu did not give the order to attack, and he instead gave the order to attack the defensive barrier on the Great Wall. Only by destroying the defensive barrier would it be easier to attack, or else they would be at a disadvantage. Zhao Fu brought out the insect den wyverns. Because they had fused with dens, they had some of the outer world's power, and could deal great damage to heaven-awakened world creatures and items. Boom, boom, boom. Chapter 1446. Of course, they could not just rely on the insect den wyverns, as there were 8 billion insect den wyverns. Even though the insect den wyverns were powerful, there were not many of them. At the same time, Zhao Fu ordered the summoned saints and archers to attack. Countless attacks blasted against the defensive barrier, causing it to become weaker and weaker. CG hurriedly ordered people to maintain the defensive barrier at all costs. Boom, 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 8 heaven-toppling auras exploded out, spreading out like floodwaters and creating wild gales. Under these terrifying auras, everyone's bodies felt icy cold, and they felt incredibly afraid. 8 massive beasts that were over 10,000 meters long appeared. They were the 8 aquatic beast kings. They had followed Qin to battle, and their auras and power were many times more ferocious than before. Zhao Fu ordered them to focus their attacks on a single point, which was where CG was. Boom, boom, boom. The 3-soul great snake raised its massive body, and its 3 heads savagely looked at the soldiers on the defensive walls. It opened its mouth, and countless traces of black light gathered. 3 destructive rays of black light shot out and slammed against the defensive barrier with shocking power. Bang, bang, bang! The earth-water dragon tortoise loudly roared, and countless traces of water elemental essence madly gathered around its body, forming 2-meter-wide water orbs. There were thousands of them, and they gave off shocking auras as they shot towards the defensive barrier. Swish, swish, swish! The reef lizard exploded out with immense power, and its back bulged as 3-meter-long rhombus-shaped reefs grew out and shot towards the defensive barrier with terrifying power. The 8 aquatic beast kings were naturally incredibly powerful, and they all focused their attacks on a single point. Adding on the fact that the defensive barrier was being attacked by the countless archers and wyverns, the defensive barrier became incredibly weak. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the Netherocian demon whale sucked in a large amount of air, causing wild gales to blow. The Netherocian demon whale then spat out an enormous blast of air, which smashed against the defensive barrier with terrifying power. A massive explosion sounded out, and the defensive barrier was covered with crack. Shing! Zhao Fu held the emperor-killing sword and slashed out, sending out an enormous sword light that slashed against the defensive barrier, causing it to shatter. Kill! The defensive shield was broken, and Qin immediately launched a general attack. Countless Qin soldiers rushed to the city wall like a tide. Their ferocious momentum seemed to be able to destroy everything. The countless ferocious beasts gave off terrifying roars and gave off even more ferocious and savage auras as they rushed towards the city walls, as if nothing could stop them. On CG's side, Only a small number of devil beasts that the Devil Horn Empire had left behind roared as they charged at Qin. They knew that this aura was their greatest enemy, but there were far fewer of them than there were on Qin's side. Now, CG was incredibly worried. The defensive wall had already been broken, so why wasn't Yao Ming here yet? Moreover, at this time, CG could only hide in the army because he was not a match for Zhao Fu at all. He might not even be able to block a single move. He could only borrow the strength of the army to preserve his life. However, the battlefield was incredibly disadvantageous to CG's side. The countless devil beasts that charged over were surrounded by Qin's beasts, and their bodies were torn apart. Blood and corpses fell to the ground, and they were quickly destroyed by Qin's side. On the ground, Qin's soldiers quickly charged up the city walls and started to fight with the desolate Crow soldiers. The battle was incredibly intense, and the sounds of fighting continuously sounded out as people fell. The stench of blood quickly spread out, making it seem like hell. A Qin soldier held a large black saber and cut a soldier in half, causing blood to splatter onto his face. Another Qin soldier stabbed his sword into another soldier's head, and another Qin soldier swung his hammer, sending a few soldiers flying. Qin soldiers used their bows to kill soldiers one by one. Some Qin soldiers roared as they stabbed their spears through soldiers' bodies, causing blood to fly everywhere. Whether it was in terms of cultivation, equipment, or numbers, Qin's side had a great advantage. However, CG's resistance was incredibly intense, and they desperately killed Qin's soldiers, causing some casualties to Qin's side. However, after Qin's beasts destroyed the devil beasts, they started to attack the city walls. The wyverns breathed out flames and icy blasts, the spiders climbed up the city walls and started a massacre, and the massive corpse soul soldiers used their massive weapons to ferociously smash the city walls. The battle was completely one-sided. If it wasn't for Qin's beasts, CG's side would have been able to slightly defend. However, after the beasts joined in, there was no hope at all. On the other side of the battlefield, Qin's other army blocked off the Devil Horn Empire's reinforcements. Moreover, they used the 20 million insect eggs they had just obtained to set up a cursed land. Any devil horn soldiers or devil beasts that stepped into the cursed land would howl and their blood would be sucked dry, turning them into desiccated corpses. The scene was quite terrifying. There were already many desiccated corpses on the ground from the Devil Horn Empire's attack, and the Devil Horn Empire could only stay where they were. Yao Ming looked at Guiji with a serious expression and understood that she was an Emperor Heaven Realm expert on Qin's side. With the soldiers she had brought, they would be able to stop the Devil Horn Empire's army. Moreover, it would take some time for the Devil Horn Empire to destroy this cursed land. If they went around, they would have to waste a lot of time. Time waited for no one, and even if they went around, Great Qin would follow them and stop them. This time, the desolate Crow world was going to be destroyed by Qin. Yao Ming understood this, and even if he went over now, it would be useless. As such, he did not want to waste time and soldiers, so he directly retreated to the Devil Horn Empire. After hearing about this, CG's expression sank and he hatefully looked at Zhao Fu before running. Now that the desolate Crow world had lost, CG could only run. As long as he could preserve his life, he would have another chance. Next time, he would make Qin suffer a fate worse than death and be consigned to eternal damnation. Seeing CG run, Zhao Fu immediately chased after him because he had said before that he would not let him escape again. However, just as Zhao Fu rushed up, countless desolate crow archers shot out arrows, giving off sharp auras as they blocked Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu called over the 8 aquatic beast kings to destroy the desolate crow soldiers blocking him, and he continued to chase after CG. Great Xia's palace was in chaos. Now, everyone knew that the desolate crow world had lost and that Qin was about to attack. Countless people packed their things in terror and planned to run. After returning to the palace, CG gave the order to only take the most valuable things and did not want anything else. These things were things that he would need to restore his empire in the future. Chapter 1447. However, he found that the teleportation channel could no longer be used, causing CG's expression to fall. Before he could react, a powerful aura descended. It was Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu coldly looked at CG and said, "I said that I wouldn't let you escape again." CG looked furious and hateful, but he knew that he was not a match for Zhao Fu. His priority was to stay alive, so he ordered his 100,000 elite soldiers to stop Zhao Fu while he continued to lead his people and escape. The 100,000 elite soldiers had been nurtured by CG, and not only were they powerful but they were also incredibly loyal. They obeyed CG's orders and charged at Zhao Fu. Swish, 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 powerful arrows containing terrifying power whistled over, and Zhao Fu unleashed a defensive barrier, blocking all of the arrows. Facing these 100,000 soldiers, Zhao Fu looked disdainful and lightly cried out, "Sword Master!" The emperor-killing sword in his hand gave off a massive sword intent, and Zhao Fu vigorously slashed out, sending out a massive crescent that gave off destructive power. It was incredibly fast and flashed past. The sword light pierced through the 100,000 soldiers on the ground, causing blood to spurt everywhere. Their bodies were cut into countless pieces, and blood dyed the ground red. The ground was covered with dismembered corpses, looking quite disgusting. Soon, Zhao Fu once again caught up to CG. Now there were less than 100 people by CG's side, including CG's concubines, relatives, and personal guards. "Your Majesty! Hurry and leave!" Seeing Zhao Fu catch up, the personal guards yelled and raised their weapons as they charged at Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu condescendingly swung his sword and a sharp arc of light flashed out, causing the heads of the incoming guards to fall off. Blood spurted out and they all died. "Do you really think you can escape?" Zhao Fu stood in front of CG and sneered at him. CG gritted his teeth and glared at Zhao Fu, saying, "Zhao Fu, must you be so ruthless? If you let me go, I can promise not to go against Qin in the future. You still have the right to negotiate? Do you think you still have the strength to resist? It's time to settle the scores in the human world. Do you think I'll let you go?" Zhao Fu said coldly with a hint of anger, because he recalled what CG had done to Qin. "How about I submit to you now?" CG stared at Zhao Fu. He endured the humiliation and uttered the most impossible words. Zhao Fu sneered, "Sorry. I won't accept it." CG's heart sank and his eyes became cold as he looked at Zhao Fu with resentment. He now understood that no matter what, Zhao Fu would not let him go. Suddenly, CG raised his sword and slashed towards the women beside him. He knew what Zhao Fu liked, and if he faced Zhao Fu now, he would definitely die. However, he did not want his women to be taken by Zhao Fu after he died. The women around him also didn't expect that their beloved CG would kill them. Just as the sword light was about to kill those women, CG suddenly stopped. Bang! Zhao Fu waved his hand, and an invisible force sent CG flying. He fell more than 10 meters away and coughed up a large mouthful of blood. The instant that CG turned around, Zhao Fu could sense his goal, and he looked at his women with interest. There were 10 women in total. One of them had a voluptuous figure and gave off a noble aura. She was CG's mother, and she was called Li Lingyue. Beside her was CG's father, and he looked at Zhao Fu furiously. He held his saber and prepared to attack Zhao Fu at any moment. One of them had a graceful figure and gave off a gentle aura. She was CG's older sister, and she was called Swan Ni. In order to consolidate his position in the tribe, CG had married his older sister to someone who held great power in order to gain his support. One of them had a seductive figure and a flirtatious aura. She was CG's cousin, and she was called Zhang Fian. Now, CG's cousin looked at Zhao Fu in fear. One of them had a wild aura and an alluring figure, and it was obvious that she was from the desolate crow race. She was most likely the daughter of the tribe's chief, and she was called Crow Raccoon. CG had married her to obtain power in the tribe. There were also a few other women. The one with a gentle aura was called Shi Yuan, and the one with a virtuous aura was called Wang Shihan. Both of them had once ranked in the top 10 beauties in China. Of the remaining 4, one was a pair of sisters who had baby faces and alluring figures. They were called Wang Lu and Wang Mei, and they were most likely Chinese people. The other was tall and beautiful, and she was called Lu Li. The other was slim and cheerful, and she was called Autumn Leaf. Seeing that Zhao Fu was looking at his women, CG furiously yelled, "Zhao Fu, if you dare to touch them, I won't let you off even if I die. Even if I die, I won't let you off." However, apart from furiously yelling, CG did not even have the strength to get up. Under Zhao Fu's gaze, the women all had different expressions. Some were afraid, some were angry, and some were sad. They naturally understood what Zhao Fu meant. Wang Shihan took out a dagger and slashed it towards her throat, wanting to protect her body with her life. However, Zhao Fu waved his hand and stopped her, and her body was locked down. Zhao Fu felt quite displeased. "Now you're all mine. You don't have the right to make your own decisions, and if you continue like this, I'll make you suffer a bit." CG's father furiously pointed at Zhao Fu with his saber and cursed, "You're the ruler of Qin state, yet you're doing such a despicable thing. You're worse than a beast." Bang! Zhao Fu casually waved his hand and sent CG's father flying back, and he lightly laughed as he said, "This has happened since ancient times." Back then, the emperor of Qin, Ing Zheng, took the concubines of the 6 states into his harem, and Liu Bang also inherited those concubines. "Since I've conquered you, they're mine. Moreover, do you think I'm a bad person? You're right, the desolate crow race acknowledges experts. Since you've conquered us, we're willing to serve you," the daughter of the tribe's leader, CG's empress, said. The other 2 desolate crow women also stood out and nodded, willing to serve Zhao Fu. CG's cousin's wife, Zhang Fian, also stood out and said, "Qin's Majesty. As long as you don't kill me, I'm willing to do anything." CG's cousin hurriedly said, "I'm willing to give her to your Majesty and submit to Qin state. Please don't kill me, your Majesty." CG looked at these people furiously and cursed, "You bunch of bastards, bitches, bang!" Zhao Fu waved his hand, and a formless energy sent CG flying back. CG crashed to the ground and blood continuously flowed out of his mouth, making him unable to speak. CG's mother, Li Lingyue, and big sister, Swan and I, watched this scene with heartache. They bowed to Zhao Fu and said, "We're willing to serve you, but please don't harm their lives." Chapter 1448. CG's father furiously looked at Li Lingyue. He had never thought that his wife would agree to serve others. Just as he was about to curse at them, he was once again sent flying. Just as Zhao Fu was about to kill him, Li Lingyue leapt in front of him and hugged Zhao Fu's leg as she cried and begged, "Please, don't kill them. I'll properly serve you." Li Lingyue leapt in front of him and hugged his leg as she cried and begged, "Please, don't kill them. I'll properly serve you." Following this, Li Lingyue waved her hand and knocked all of the men unconscious. Zhao Fu started to enjoy these women and do it with them, causing the women to moan lewdly. Zhao Fu waved his hand and knocked all of the men unconscious, and he started to enjoy these women. He did it with them, causing them to moan lewdly. By now, Qin's soldiers had long since attacked and controlled the desolate crow world. The soldiers came to where Zhao Fu was. Wang Jian looked at Zhao Fu and the red-faced women beside him and smiled as he reported, "Your Majesty, the desolate crow world has long since been conquered." Wang Jian looked at Zhao Fu and the red-faced women beside him and smiled as he reported, "Your Majesty, the desolate crow world is already under our control. The desolate crow world is already under our control." This subordinate has also gathered some desolate crow race women for you to enjoy. Zhao Fu lightly laughed and said, "No need. Let's talk about the losses and gains from the battle." Wang Jian started to narrate the battle. This time, Qin had only lost 500 million soldiers, killed 3.5 billion enemies, and subdued nearly 4 billion enemies. The rest of the soldiers had all escaped. Moreover, they had gained 28 billion people. Not counting the number of soldiers, they had gained 50,000 to 60,000 tribe stones. Now, Qin had 410 billion people, 590,000 cities, and 6 worlds. They were another step closer to becoming a royal kingdom, and they were only 4 worlds away from leveling up to a royal kingdom. However, Qin's population and cities were now the same as ordinary royal kingdoms. What they lacked was their foundation and the strength of their soldiers. "Your Majesty, what should we do with these people?" Wang Jian looked at the unconscious CG and the others and asked. Of course, he recognized CG. Back then, most of the difficulties that Qin had faced had been caused by these people. As such, Wang Jian thought to himself, we shouldn't keep these people alive. We should skin them alive and let the world know the consequences of offending Qin. "Your Majesty, spare their lives and we will serve you well from now on." The red-faced Li Lingyue and Lao Ai, who gave off an alluring aura, threw themselves into Zhao Fu's embrace and looked at Zhao Fu pleadingly. Zhao Fu chuckled and agreed. He even woke up CG and the others. CG and the others looked at the women whose faces were flushed with anger. Their hatred for Zhao Fu had reached an extreme. They wanted nothing more than to drink Zhao Fu's blood and eat Zhao Fu's flesh. There was no need to think to know what happened after they fainted. Before they fainted, his mother, Li Lingyue, had already started to serve Zhao Fu. What happened after that must be even more unsightly. Zhao Fu chuckled and said to CG, "Don't worry. I won't kill you now, and I'll let you see me, Qin, lead the human world to rise. I'll let Qin's name go down in history. Also, they taste quite good." Only by keeping them alive and making them wish they were dead would Zhao Fu be able to vent his anger. Back then, Zhao Fu remembered everything that CG had done to Qin. Hearing Zhao Fu's words, Li Lingyue and Lao Ai's faces became red and they leaned into Zhao Fu's embrace. Just then, they had enjoyed doing it with Zhao Fu, and they even felt glad that they had made the decision to serve Zhao Fu. CG and the others' eyes almost popped out of their sockets, and they continuously cursed at Zhao Fu before being taken away. Seeing that Zhao Fu really didn't want to kill CG and the others, Li Lingyue lay in Zhao Fu's embrace and looked at Zhao Fu with her beautiful eyes as she said gratefully, "Thank you, Your Majesty. I was able to spare their lives." Zhao Fu hugged this noble-looking woman and teased her as he said, "No need to call me Your Majesty. What did you call me just then?" Li Lingyue's face became red and she lightly called out, "Husband. I got it." Following this, Zhao Fu brought countless soldiers back to Qin, ending this attack on the desolate crow race. He left behind a majority of his soldiers to clear out the desolate crow world and fuse it into Qin. This was to take revenge for Shuli, Shueru, and Henny. That night they served Zhao Fu with all their might. After hearing about this, Yao Ming could only sigh. Only by continuously increasing their strength would they be able to resist Qin. Now that Qin had 6 worlds, the Devil Horn Empire could not fall behind. Yao Ming immediately gathered all of his ministers to discuss how to attack the next world and deal with Qin. They especially had to deal with the Emperor Heaven Realm expert. Back then, Zhao Fu had only sent Guiji and did not use Feng Wulin because Feng Wulin could be used as a hidden trump card in Qin. No one would have thought that a border kingdom like Qin already had 2 Emperor Heaven Realm experts. After attacking the desolate Crow world, they had obtained some armaments, which could expand the ceiling heaven suppressing Earth formation. After waiting in Qin for a few days, the situation had stabilized. The Devil Horn Empire was planning to attack the next world, and would not act against Qin for now. The Aeolian Empire was in a disadvantageous situation and would not do anything. Zhao Fu planned to go to the outer world and clear out the danger zones around Qin's territory. Last time, they had discovered the blood-sucking mosquitoes, but what if they did not discover them next time? What would happen if the surrounding danger zones attacked? For the safety of Qin's territory, Qin Zhao had to take the initiative to attack and destroy them first. In the following days, Zhao Fu was quite happy. During the day, he destroyed insect dens, and at night, he did it with Ericina and the other women. However, there was one time when Zhao Fu was doing it with Bai Shihan's body when he suddenly coughed up a mouthful of blood, and large amounts of demonic qi rose up from his body. An evil and dark power spread out, and his pupils disappeared and 2 black rose-like flowers appeared. "Husband, what's wrong?" the women asked in concern. They did not understand why Zhao Fu had suddenly coughed up blood, and his aura had become chaotic. Zhao Fu's body froze as the 4 emperor stars in the boundless void continuously trembled and gave off intense starlight. 4 heaven-toppling auras caused the surrounding stars to fall into terror. The 4 emperor stars seemed to be summoning something, and more demonic qi flowed out of Zhao Fu's body. He felt immense pain and hunger, and he wanted to devour anything with demonic qi. Zhao Fu did not reply to the women and took out all sorts of things containing demonic qi from his spatial ring. As long as it was edible, Zhao Fu ate it, such as demonic medicines, demonic beast flesh, and demonic cores. After devouring these demonic items, Zhao Fu felt much better. Facing the women's concerned gazes, Zhao Fu smiled and said, "There's nothing else, but I'm going to leave and head to the demon domain." Ericina frowned and asked, "What's the reason?" Chapter 1449. Zhao Fu quickly started to make preparations. He was going to the demon domain with his true body, and he did not know what would happen. As for people, Zhao Fu did not bring anyone. Guiji, the most powerful person in Qin City, had to defend Qin City, and Feng Wulin could not be used. Ericina was responsible for defending the outer world. Those who were too weak would not be of much use, so Zhao Fu did not bring any of them. Zhao Fu's destination this time was the historical remnant. Of course, Zhao Fu's main goal was to obtain a large amount of things containing demonic qi to awaken the demon star. The historical remnant was just a side quest, and if he could not find it there, he would have to go elsewhere. Zhao Fu gave Qin City's matters to Li Si to handle and left all internal affairs to Bai Qi to handle. When Zhao Fu was not around, the two of them often helped Zhao Fu deal with various matters, so Zhao Fu felt quite at ease with them. A day later, Zhao Fu set out towards the demon domain. Because it was a boundary region, there were countless worlds between the demon domain and the demon domain, so Zhao Fu could only travel as quickly as he could to the underworld. After traveling for nearly 10 days, Zhao Fu madly traveled and finally arrived at the inner region. The Heaven-Awakened world was definitely bigger than the underworld because it continuously devoured other worlds to grow. After arriving at a city, Zhao Fu was about to continue onwards when he found that many people were gathered. Zhao Fu curiously followed over and found that it was just a martial arts competition. He felt a bit disappointed, as Zhao Fu was not interested in participating. Just as he was about to leave, he heard that the person who won the prize would receive a precious treasure map, which was said to be the Demon King's treasure trove. This made Zhao Fu feel quite interested, and he was quite sensitive to the words Demon King. Zhao Fu needed a large number of top-grade items containing demonic qi, or else he would not go to the demon domain. Bang! A muffled explosion sounded out as a well-built young man punched someone off the stage, winning the martial arts competition. In the inner regions, Stage 8 and Stage 9 people were quite common, and there were also some saints. It was not like the outer regions, where Stage 8 and Stage 9 people were rare. Saints were already considered very strong. The young man was quite powerful, and was already a Saint Realm expert. He planned to go up and obtain the treasure map, as with Zhao Fu's strength, he would definitely be able to obtain the treasure map. But when he went up, he found that there were still many restrictions. First of all, he had to be a man, and he couldn't be over 30 years old. Furthermore, his appearance couldn't be too ugly. Zhao Fu found these conditions very strange, but for the sake of the Demon King's treasure map, Zhao Fu did not care too much. "Young master, please take off your cloak and let me have a look," a beautiful woman said to Zhao Fu with a smile. Zhao Fu took off his cloak, revealing a rarely seen handsome face and an extraordinary aura. Not only did the beautiful middle-aged woman's eyes light up, the other spectators also cried out because of Zhao Fu's appearance. "Alright, I now announce that this young master is the winner of the martial arts competition," the beautiful middle-aged woman loudly announced in delight. This caused everyone to feel quite surprised, and they all felt quite dissatisfied and called out, "Isn't this a martial arts competition? Isn't that boy just a bit good-looking? How did he win without even fighting? Is this a martial arts competition or a competition of who is good-looking? That's right. Why is that person so good-looking? If it was a competition of looks, I admit that I'm inferior, but this is a martial arts competition. I refuse to accept this. Does ugly people not deserve to live anymore? Hurry up and give an explanation. Why did he win without even fighting? If it was because he was good-looking, what was the point of this martial arts competition?" The well-built young man who had won felt quite dissatisfied because not only had he obtained the treasure map, but he had also obtained many good things. However, another person had come up and taken away all of these things without even fighting. How could he accept this? The beautiful middle-aged woman disdainfully lightly laughed. She had long since discovered that Zhao Fu had Earth Realm cultivation and his aura was incredibly terrifying. He was definitely the most suitable person she had found. "Young master, do you mind sparring with them?" Zhao Fu nodded. However, he could sense that the purpose of this martial arts competition was not simple, but he did not know what it was. Following this, Zhao Fu came to the arena and looked at the well-built young man. Facing Zhao Fu's gaze, the young man could not help but feel nervous and slightly afraid. However, the people below cheered for him and loudly shouted for him to beat up that pretty boy. With everyone cheering for him, the well-built young man gained some courage. He raised his fist and roared as he rushed at Zhao Fu. He punched out, causing the air to explode as a formless fist energy ferociously slammed towards Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu stood his ground and casually waved his hand, causing a massive wave of energy to blast out. Not only did it disperse the fist energy, but it also sent the young man flying out of the arena without being able to resist at all. The beautiful middle-aged woman stood up and smiled as she said, "Now, is there anyone who has any objections?" The people in the surroundings looked quite shocked. They had never thought that Zhao Fu would be so powerful. He seemed to be able to crush a Saint Realm expert at will, so they naturally did not have any objections and did not dare to challenge him. "Where are the rewards? I still have things to do. Give them to me as soon as possible," Zhao Fu said coldly as he looked at the beautiful middle-aged woman. The beautiful middle-aged woman flirtatiously smiled as she said, "Sir, come with me." Following this, Zhao Fu followed the beautiful middle-aged woman to a room. The beautiful middle-aged woman gave all of the rewards to Zhao Fu, and Zhao Fu felt quite satisfied as he prepared to leave. "Sir, do you want to obtain even more shocking wealth?" the beautiful middle-aged woman said as she smiled temptingly. Zhao Fu knew that her goal was not simple, but Zhao Fu was only interested in the treasure map and was not interested in anything else, so he directly refused. "I'm not interested." The beautiful middle-aged woman looked quite surprised. She had never thought that someone like Zhao Fu, who had come for the rewards, would not be interested in the shocking wealth. She thought for a moment before saying flirtatiously, "Sir, are you really not interested?" Not only can you obtain shocking wealth, but you can also obtain supreme power. Zhao Fu shook his head. There was no such thing as a free lunch in the world. The greater the rewards, the greater the risk. As such, Zhao Fu did not want to participate, and he turned to leave. Seeing that she had found such a suitable person, if she let him leave, it would be too much of a pity. Moreover, time was quite tight, and if she missed this person, she would not be able to find a second one. Thinking about that, the beautiful middle-aged woman made up her mind and hugged Zhao Fu's arm as she rubbed her body against Zhao Fu's arm and said flirtatiously, "Sir, don't be in such a hurry to leave. Don't be in a hurry to leave. Listen to my explanation first." Zhao Fu stopped and wanted to hear what was going on. Seeing this, the beautiful middle-aged woman flirtatiously smiled and started to undo Zhao Fu's clothes. Soon, sounds of doing it could be heard within the room. Chapter 1450. Zhao Fu's expression was quite calm as he asked, "Just what is going on? Tell me, your goal should be this, right?" The beautiful woman pouted and said, "Young master, it's really boring. I'll tell you now. The Mountain River Kingdom's crown princess is the next successor to the throne, but she doesn't have a husband, so the current king wants to find a marriage for her. Among them, there are various royal descendants and nobles to choose from. Right now, the king intends to let them compete and choose the most outstanding person to be the eldest princess' husband. Those people come from various factions, and they want to use this to control our Princess Royal and infiltrate their forces throughout the kingdom. More importantly, the Princess Royal doesn't want to get married, so she ordered me to choose a suitable person to be her husband. This way, the Crown Princess can control everything and won't be spied on by the various factions. She won't have to marry a man and will just be putting on an act." Zhao Fu lightly laughed. So it was just a fake marriage. The person she chose would naturally be controlled by her, and he would be like a puppet. That was the eldest princess' true goal. "I'm afraid I can't agree to this because I'm just passing by and don't plan on staying for long," Zhao Fu said as he looked at the beautiful woman in his arms. The beautiful woman lightly laughed as she said, "I knew that young master was not an ordinary person, so I'd like to ask young master to discuss with the crown princess. There will be great benefits, so can young master trust me this once?" Zhao Fu thought for a moment before agreeing. The Mountain River Kingdom was one of the most powerful kingdoms in the surrounding kingdoms, and perhaps he would be able to obtain great benefit. The beautiful woman happily kissed Zhao Fu's face and said, "Thank you, young master. Also, I'm called Huan Yang. After you discuss with the crown princess, I'll properly serve young master." Zhao Fu smiled and nodded. Following this, Huan Yang brought Zhao Fu through a secret passageway to a large hall in the palace. Because they could not let others know about this, it was quite secretive. Zhao Fu saw the crown princess. She was wearing white clothes and was sitting on the throne reading through memorials. She had a graceful figure and a heroic appearance, and she gave off a very powerful feeling. Her cultivation was at the Earth realm. "Your Highness, I have brought him to you. I guarantee that he is the most suitable candidate," Huan Yang said with a smile on her face as she bowed to the first princess. The royal princess was called Shan Luoshui, and she raised her head and calmly looked at Zhao Fu's body. Her expression slightly changed. Zhao Fu was not wearing his cloak and did not hide his aura, causing Shan Luoshui's bloodline to instinctively feel fear. "Who are you?" Shan Luoshui stared at Zhao Fu and asked coldly. Huan Yang also didn't expect that her master would suddenly become so serious. In her heart, she also thought that Zhao Fu's identity was far more terrible than she thought. Zhao Fu lightly laughed as he said, "You don't need to know who I am. The reason I've come here is to cooperate with your fake marriage. You don't need to worry about me, as I'm just passing by. I just want to ask what benefits I can obtain." Shan Luoshui had never thought that Zhao Fu would be so direct, but after knowing Zhao Fu's goal, She let out a sigh of relief and gave a trace of a smile as she said, "If I choose you as my husband, with the might of your bloodline, I'm sure no one will object. I accept this deal, and as for the benefits, this young empress will do her best to satisfy all of your requests." Hearing Shan Luoshui's words, Zhao Fu thought of something and asked, "Are you really willing to satisfy all of my requests?" Shan Luoshui nodded seriously and reminded him, "Your requests must be within this young empress' capabilities, or else this young empress will not accept them." Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "What if I ask you to send troops to protect a kingdom? That kingdom is a royal kingdom, and with your mountain river kingdom's strength, you should be able to deal with it." This request caused Shan Luoshui to think for a moment before agreeing and saying, "If it's within the mountain river kingdom's capabilities, this young empress will definitely send troops to protect it. However, this young empress has a condition, which is that you must listen to everything this young empress says." Hearing this, Zhao Fu felt quite delighted. In the future, Qin City would have a royal kingdom protecting it, and he would not have to fear the Aeolian Empire. As for Shan Luoshui's request, Zhao Fu nodded and agreed. Shan Luoshui's gaze turned to the red-faced Huanyang, who gave off a mature aura, and she understood what had happened. "Huanyang has been by this young empress' side for many years. I hope you can treat her well, or else this young empress will not let you off." Huanyang's beautiful face became red as she said, "Thank you for your concern, Your Highness. Huanyang is willing to stay by Your Highness' side." Zhao Fu was not surprised by Huanyang's decision. After all, they had only just gotten to know each other, so it was impossible for her to leave with him. Moreover, Zhao Fu was going to the demon domain, so he would not bring her with him. Shan Luoshui felt quite touched by Huanyang's loyalty, and she smiled and softly nodded. Following this, Zhao Fu put on a new set of luxurious clothes and followed Shan Luoshui to the palace. The ministers and officials stood in rows, and a white-haired elder with a powerful aura sat at the top. He was the king of the Mountain River Kingdom, Shan Yutian. "Imperial Father. He's the husband I've chosen, what do you think?" Shan Luoshui confidently smiled as she spoke loudly, not only for Shan Yutian to hear but also for all of the ministers and officials present to hear. Immediately, the ministers and officials were sent into an uproar. They had never thought that the man Shan Luoshui had brought would become Shan Luoshui's husband, the future empress of the Mountain River Kingdom. Shan Yutian smiled as he looked at Zhao Fu with his bright eyes, while Zhao Fu stood there, neither servile nor overbearing. Even though Zhao Fu did not give off any of his aura, Shan Yutian could sense that Zhao Fu's bloodline was incredibly high-grade, and the aura he gave off was incredibly dangerous. He was definitely a terrifying person. If such a person was willing to become his daughter's husband, it would naturally be a great thing. However, if that person did not have good intentions, it would be quite dangerous. "Sir, who are you? Where are you from?" Shan Yutian smiled as he asked Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu did not reply, and Shan Luoshui replied for Zhao Fu, "Imperial Father, don't worry. I've already investigated Lai's background and have been in love with him for a few months. Imperial Father, please don't worry about my marriage. I will be marrying him today." Chapter 1451. Some people objected because they had been eyeing the position of Shan Luoshui's husband for a long time and there were great benefits involved, so they could not just let it go like this. "Your Majesty, this minister feels that this person's background is unclear and should not be the Mountain River Kingdom's empress." "Your Majesty, even though this person is abnormally handsome, he might not have true strength. This minister asks Your Majesty to reconsider." "Your Majesty, this minister feels that this minister's son is far superior to this person and is more suitable to be the royal princess husband." Shan Luoshui had expected so many people to object, so she was not too surprised and smiled as she said, "How about we have a competition then? The ministers hurriedly agreed because this was what they wanted to see. Shan Luoshui looked at Zhao Fu and asked in a small voice, "Are you confident?" Zhao Fu inwardly nodded. Even Zhao Fu did not fear the geniuses of the heaven domain, so Zhao Fu did not care about these geniuses of kingdoms at all. Following this, Zhao Fu went to an empty area outside the palace. 6 young men were already standing there. They were all handsome and had extraordinary bearings, and they were the most outstanding people in their families. They were existences that countless people looked up to. "Come at me together." Zhao Fu stood there and said disdainfully to the 6 people in front of him. Hearing Zhao Fu's arrogant words, the 6 people angrily looked at each other and exploded out with powerful auras as they rushed at Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu took out the sadistic killing sword and vigorously slashed out, causing an enormous blood-red sword light to shoot out, bringing with it a ferocious gale as it slashed towards the 6 people like a bolt of lightning. The 6 people were given a big fright and hurriedly unleashed defensive barriers, but they were still sent flying by that massive sword light. They crashed 10 or so meters away and coughed up a large mouthful of blood. Facing Zhao Fu, they were incredibly weak and insignificant. The other ministers felt quite shocked. They knew that Zhao Fu had Earth Realm cultivation, but the power he gave off seemed to be on the same level as a World Realm expert, making them feel quite shocked. Shan Luoshui smiled confidently. "Do you guys have any objections now?" Even though the ministers were unwilling, they could only accept it. After all, their disciples had joined forces and yet they had been instantly killed, so what face did they have to say? Soon after, the news of the eldest princess's marriage spread. The entire Mountain River Kingdom was filled with joy and joy. Lanterns and banners were hung everywhere, and there were many festive things. Zhao Fu had also changed into a red groom's attire, and Shan Luoshui had also changed into a red palace dress and had faint red makeup on, making her look incredibly beautiful. This was the first time he had married someone. Looking at the people around him and the lively scene, Zhao Fu also felt a bit nervous. Zhao Fu and Shan Luoshui first sat in a joyous carriage and walked around the capital, receiving the love and blessings of the people. Finally, they returned to the palace and bowed to Shan Luoshui's father and mother. Shan Yutian also officially conferred the title of Prince Consort to Zhao Fu, a legitimate man of Shan Luo River. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded out, and the instant he was conferred the title, Zhao Fu's body gave off a platinum-colored light. A platinum-colored dragon phoenix came out of Zhao Fu's body and gave off a massive aura as it flew into the sky, causing abnormal signs. Everyone looked at the dragon phoenix in the sky in shock, including Shan Luoshui. She had never thought that Zhao Fu's body would contain a dragon phoenix, and it was a dragon phoenix of the highest grade at that. As the next king of the Mountain River Kingdom, Shan Luoshui could clearly sense that the Mountain River Kingdom's fate was quickly increasing, becoming purer and more stable. Her own fate also quickly went through changes, and a formless heaven and earth power flowed into her body, causing her constitution to go through changes. It was as if she had been buffed by heaven and earth power, and a powerful king's aura spread out. This was the terrifying effects of a top-tier dragon phoenix, and it was the reason why Feng Qianghua wanted to obtain Zhao Fu at all costs. Shan Yutian had been quite wary of Zhao Fu's identity, but seeing Zhao Fu's dragon phoenix, he looked incredibly delighted. He had never thought that his daughter would be so lucky to obtain a top-tier dragon phoenix. Even the Empire's emperor did not have such a thing. Zhao Fu had never thought that such a thing would happen. After the abnormal signs settled, everyone's attitudes towards Zhao Fu greatly improved, and everyone at the banquet toasted Zhao Fu and said many flattering words. Finally, it was time for the bridal chamber. Zhao Fu pushed open the door and entered, and Shan Luoshui was already sitting on the bed, waiting for Zhao Fu. Just as Zhao Fu walked in, Shan Luoshui said, "This young empress has something to discuss with you. Close the door first." Hearing this, Zhao Fu nodded and turned to close the door. A trace of a smile appeared on Shan Luoshui's face as she said happily, "I never thought that you would have a top-tier dragon phoenix within your body. This is very important to both the Mountain River Kingdom and this young empress. This young empress wants you to be this young empress' husband forever, and this young empress will agree to any request you have." Zhao Fu thought about it and asked, "Husband and wife in name? Also, you won't interfere with anything I do? You won't restrict my freedom?" Shan Luoshui smiled and nodded. Zhao Fu nodded and said, "Then you have to fulfill my request. Also, I'll only stay here for 2 days at most. After 2 days I'll leave." Shan Luoshui thought about it and agreed. Zhao Fu nodded in satisfaction. With the Mountain River Kingdom's help, Qin would be much safer. "This is for you. You can sleep on the ground," Shan Luoshui said as she gave a blanket to Zhao Fu, feeling quite embarrassed. Zhao Fu felt quite helpless and took the blanket. It was the first time he had received such treatment. There were no female attendants here, so Shan Luoshui told them to leave. Shan Luoshui lay on the bed and covered herself with the blanket as she prepared to sleep. Zhao Fu put the blanket on a table and sat on a chair, entering a state of cultivation. The next day, Zhao Fu went to see some seniors according to the Mountain River Kingdom's customs. He was shocked to find that the Mountain River Kingdom had 7 Emperor Heaven Realm experts, and one of them was at the peak of the Emperor Heaven Realm. At night, Zhao Fu returned to his room and found that Shan Luoshui was not there. Instead, Huan Yang was waiting for him with a flirtatious look on her face. Zhao Fu gave a trace of a smile, and the two of them did not say anything and soon started to intensely do it. "Sir, I'm sorry. I really want to leave with you, but I don't want to leave the eldest princess," Huan Yang said apologetically as she lay in Zhao Fu's embrace. Zhao Fu lightly laughed. "Then remember that you're my woman, don't let anyone else touch you." Huan Yang sweetly hugged Zhao Fu and said, "Sir, my body is already yours and I won't let anyone else touch me. If Sir wants, I can serve Sir at any time." Zhao Fu hugged Huan Yang and smiled as he nodded. Chapter 1452. Huan Yang had already told Zhao Fu everything about the treasure map. She had obtained it by chance and was not sure if there really was a treasure trove. It seemed that there were 10 or so treasure maps, so Huan Yang warned Zhao Fu to be careful. Zhao Fu remembered this and carefully headed towards the location of the treasure trove. It was within a large mountain, and there was a town at the foot of the mountain called the Demon King's Town. They knew that there was a powerful demon king sealed within the mountain, and that the demon king was extremely terrifying and liked to eat people. The mountain was the town's forbidden area, and people who went there would often disappear, so no one dared to go there. After hearing about this, Zhao Fu cautiously walked into the mountain. After entering the mountain, Zhao Fu's keen senses detected traces of demonic qi rising from the ground. Even though he was not sure if there was a treasure trove here, there was definitely something that contained a large amount of demonic qi. Swish, 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 a few wild beasts recklessly leapt at Zhao Fu, and Zhao Fu casually slashed out a few sword lights, killing the wild beasts. These wild beasts had blood-red eyes and savage appearances, and their bodies gave off faint demonic qi. They had most likely been corroded by demonic qi and had become demonic. Zhao Fu did not mind this, as these wild beasts were quite weak. He took the map and started to look for the entrance to the treasure trove, and he found a hidden cave. This cave was at the bottom of a mountain stream, and if one did not look carefully, they would not be able to find it. There was a lot of demonic qi coming out of the cave, and it was completely dark inside, making people's hairs stand on end. However, Zhao Fu became even more careful because Zhao Fu found traces of other people here, and it was most likely that someone had come here before him. Zhao Fu did not want anyone else to obtain the treasure trove, so he did not hesitate and entered the cave. Roar! Roar! Roars sounded out as demonic creatures rushed out from the side, giving off terrifying power as they ferociously attacked Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu found that it was a group of octopus-like monsters. Their bodies were quite thin, and their eyes were blood-red, giving off a faint light. 2 of their tentacles had sharp bone spikes that could be used as weapons to attack others. Zhao Fu's expression was calm as he held the sadistic killing sword and walked forwards, slashing out sharp blood-red sword lights. When the demonic creatures were hit by the blood-red sword light, they howled in pain as their bodies were torn apart and black blood splattered everywhere. Under Zhao Fu's swords, these demonic creatures were unable to resist at all. Even when they stretched out their tentacles to attack, they were unable to touch Zhao Fu and were all cut apart. Not long after, Zhao Fu cleared out the demon beasts that had rushed out. Zhao Fu was somewhat disappointed. The demon beasts here were so weak, which meant that the item might not be very valuable. This was because the more precious something was, the more powerful the monster would be. These monsters were obviously not powerful monsters, but it was also possible that he was too strong. Keep moving. Zhao Fu found some bright red bloodstains. They were not from the demon beasts but from the previous group of people. There were many bloodstains, meaning that a few people had been injured. Seeing this, Zhao Fu could not help but relax. The people who had been injured by these demon beasts were evidently quite weak and were not a match for him. As such, there was no need for Zhao Fu to be too careful, and he sped up. Following this, Zhao Fu came to a large space that was hundreds of meters wide. It was surrounded by black walls, and there were demon beasts' corpses everywhere, giving off a dense stench of blood. There were no items here, and they had most likely been taken by the previous group of people. The monsters had not been killed by Zhao Fu either. Just as Zhao Fu was about to continue onwards, he heard some sounds from behind him. A group of people walked over. There were 7 of them in total, 4 men and 3 women. One of the men looked valiant, one gave off a cold and gloomy aura, one had a well-built body, and one was a young man. Of the 3 women, one had a voluptuous figure and gave off a sexy aura, one had white skin and a gentle aura, and one looked like a big sister. There was also a young girl who looked quite unruly. The previous group had already killed the demon beasts here, and the remaining demon beasts had been taken care of by Zhao Fu. As such, this group did not face any obstructions and easily arrived here. Did you kill these demon beasts? Did you obtain any treasures? Hurry up and hand them over. The unruly young girl pointed at Zhao Fu as she called out. Zhao Fu slightly frowned, looking quite displeased. The valiant-looking young man in the lead hurriedly said apologetically, "My junior apprentice sister is a bit willful. Please don't mind her, brother." The young girl pouted in dissatisfaction. She felt that there was nothing to be afraid of with Zhao Fu by himself. Moreover, he had definitely obtained something good, and all they had to do was snatch it. As such, just as she was about to say something, the big sister-like woman next to him stopped him because she felt that Zhao Fu was quite dangerous and was far more powerful than them. If they clashed, it was possible that their side would lose. Zhao Fu had his own thoughts. It would be better to walk behind them and wait for them to obtain something before forcefully snatching it. However, he was afraid that there were other paths or that they would choose to leave through other methods. If that happened, he would have waited here for nothing. After thinking about it, Zhao Fu ignored them and continued onwards. This made the others feel quite displeased, and the gloomy-looking young man said, "This person is too arrogant. Does he think that we're easy to deal with?" The unruly young girl said angrily, "We should have killed him and taken his things. Why would we be so angry at him? That person is very powerful, and we might lose. It's best not to offend him," the valiant-looking young man said seriously. I also feel that this is better," the big sister-like woman said in agreement. Hearing her voice of approval, the valiant-looking young man happily looked at her, while the woman turned her head away with a blush on her face. It seemed that the 2 of them liked each other, but they didn't say it out loud. "What should we do now?" We're here for the treasures. If that person walks ahead and takes all of the good things, conflict will be unavoidable," the strong-looking young man suddenly said, interrupting their ambiguous conversation. Everyone else agreed with this. They could not just give the treasures to someone else for free, as there would definitely be a fight between them unless that person was incredibly powerful. The woman with the seductive aura said, "Let's follow him for now. With him killing monsters in front of us, we won't be in any danger. We can also see how strong he is, and if he finds anything good, we can wait for an opportunity to act." Everyone agreed with her words, and they followed Zhao Fu into the path ahead. Chapter 1453. Clang, clang, clang. Metallic sounds rang out as skeleton soldiers giving off demonic chi and a decaying aura appeared in front of Zhao Fu. These were most likely demon race soldiers who had died and were not very strong. Each of them had around stage 5 or 6 cultivation, and there were not many of them. They had most likely been cleared out by the people at the front, making it much easier for Zhao Fu. Facing these skeleton soldiers that gave off demonic chi, Zhao Fu continuously swung his sword, sending out terrifying blood-red sword lights as he advanced, as if he was cutting grass. In front of Zhao Fu's power, the skeletons were unable to resist at all and were chopped into countless bones that fell to the ground. The group of people at the back felt quite shocked as they watched the skeleton soldiers being easily killed by Zhao Fu. At the same time, they realized that there might be another group of people ahead, as there were already many skeletons in front of Zhao Fu that had been killed. "Let's go," the valiant-looking young man said. Hearing this, everyone prepared to go up, but something unexpected happened. A magic formation was suddenly activated, and the skeletons in the surroundings madly gathered, forming skeletons. The skeletons that had been killed all revived and gave off ferocious auras as they flooded towards the group. The team hurriedly unleashed a defensive barrier. Looking at the skeletons surrounding them, a trace of fear appeared on their faces. "You're despicable. You used such a method to harm us," the valiant-looking young man angrily yelled at Zhao Fu, believing that this was done by Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu turned and disdainfully laughed as he said, "You were the ones who were careless. That trap wasn't set by me. It was set up by the previous group. It's your fault for being careless and trying to take advantage of me." Indeed, that trap had not been set by Zhao Fu. It was most likely that the previous group had sensed people coming from behind them, so they had set up this trap. This trap was naturally incredibly ferocious, and the countless skeletons and skulls quickly destroyed the 7 people's defensive barrier. The 7 people ignored Zhao Fu's words and felt incredibly furious. They could only fight the skeletons at close range. The valiant-looking young man swung his large saber, sending out saber lights that cut countless skeletons in half. The gloomy-looking young man took out a bone flute and sent out a soundwave attack. The muscular young man swung his staff, shattering all of the skeletons that came close. The young man used a mirror, which shot out rays of cold light that shattered the skeletons. The 3 women unleashed different attacks. The seductive woman and the big sister-like woman used swords, which gave off sword lights. The unruly young woman used a whip, which contained immense power and easily shattered the skull. However, there were simply too many skeletons. They were like a tidal wave, attacking from above and below. The 7 of them were quickly overwhelmed and began to suffer injuries. The seductive woman's arm was bitten by a skeleton, causing blood to flow out. The seductive woman sent power into her arm and vigorously swung, shattering the skeleton that was biting her. Seeing that everyone else was injured, the 7 of them would most likely die here. The only way for them to survive was for the person in front of them to destroy the magic formation. However, they had already formed enmity with that person, so how could that person help them? The seductive woman did not want to die here, and she loudly yelled, "Sir, as long as you destroy the trap, I'm willing to be your woman and serve you for the rest of my life." Zhao Fu turned and looked at the woman with interest. He found that she was quite seductive and lightly laughed as he said, "I can save you, but if I destroy the trap, I'll be saving 7 people and I'll be at a great disadvantage." The unruly young woman looked terrified and looked as if she was about to cry as she pleaded, "As long as you can save us, I'll agree to anything. I'll even be your servant." The woman who looked like a big sister looked at the crowd, sighed, and shouted, "Sir, as long as you destroy the trap, the 3 of us will be yours. However, you have to promise not to harm anyone else." Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as a massive blood-red sword light shot out with unstoppable force. Countless skeletons were turned into dust by the sword light, and in just an instant, all of the skeletons had disappeared, leaving behind a deep sword gash on the ground. The 7 of them were quite shocked. They had never thought that Zhao Fu would be so terrifying. What was even more laughable was that they had wanted to take advantage of Zhao Fu. "Now it's time to fulfill your promise," Zhao Fu said as he gave a faint smile. The seductive woman had never thought that Zhao Fu would be so powerful. If she could follow such a person, it would be a good thing, so she happily ran over and leapt into his embrace as she affectionately called out, "Sir, my name is Wu He and I'll be yours from now on." The unruly young woman looked at Zhao Fu in fear and tearfully looked at the big sister-like woman. The woman lowered her head and sorrowfully walked towards Zhao Fu. The valiant-looking young man grabbed her hand and pleaded, "Dong Mei, don't go." The woman's body trembled and her eyes danced with tears. She looked at the valiant-looking young man who was trying to persuade her to stay and smiled. She felt incredibly happy that the valiant-looking young man could still stand up and ask her to stay even though he was so powerful like Zhao Fu. She could clearly feel the warmth from his palm, but it was already over. She struggled free from his hand and said softly, "According to our agreement, I'm his now. I'm truly sorry. I hope that you can find a woman who loves you even more in the future. I don't want to. I only want you. Dong Mei, I like you, please don't go to him." 2 streams of tears flowed out of the young man's eyes, and he looked incredibly emotional as he grabbed the woman's arm and looked at her passionately. The woman's body slightly trembled and she stood there in a daze. She had never thought that the young man would say these words that she had been waiting for. Tears flowed out of her eyes as she smiled. She felt incredibly happy and blissful. Bang! A formless energy blasted out, sending the young man flying back and causing him to cough up a large mouthful of blood. The woman was given a big fright and hurriedly went up to check on him. Zhao Fu's cold voice sounded out, "If you keep dawdling, I'll kill all of you." Only then did the woman and the others come back to their senses. Right now they were not in control of the situation. If Zhao Fu wanted their lives, he could kill them at any time. The unruly young woman ran over to Zhao Fu's side in fear and obediently lowered her head as she said, "Sir, I'm called Ziyu." Zhao Fu nodded and looked at the woman called Dong Mei. Dong Mei lightly wiped away her tears and apologized to the young man who was coughing up blood on the ground before running over to Zhao Fu. Chapter 1454. However, she now belonged to another man, so there was no point in regretting it. This was what made him feel the most pain. The 3 other men looked at Zhao Fu in fear, afraid that Zhao Fu would kill them. They took the heavily injured and crying young man and quickly left. They had come to obtain the treasure trove and had never thought that they would encounter such a thing. Not only had they not obtained anything, but they had also been injured. Most importantly, the 3 women they had brought had become someone else's. After they left, Zhao Fu looked at the sorrowful and teary Dong Mei and said dissatisfiedly, "I don't like it when you're like this, do you understand?" Dong Mei suppressed her sadness and forced out a smile towards Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu was quite satisfied as he brought her into his embrace and kissed her on the lips, following which they started to do it. A while later, Zhao Fu looked at the 3 women in his embrace. Their faces were red and they were slightly panting. There were faint smiles on their faces, and the sorrow and fear from before had disappeared. "Husband, I really like you more and more." Wu He flirtatiously hugged Zhao Fu as she said happily. She had never thought that not only was Zhao Fu incredibly powerful, but he also gave her a pleasant surprise in this aspect. "Husband, I thought that you would torture me. I never thought that you would treat me so well," Ziyu, the unruly young woman, said as she happily giggled. "Husband, we've been doing it here for a while, and the previous group most likely found the treasure trove as well. Let's go in as soon as possible," Dong Mei said to Zhao Fu as she decided to be a good wife and loving mother. This was because she could not change anything. She was now Zhao Fu's woman and could not resist at all, so she could only helplessly accept this result. Hearing their words, Zhao Fu nodded and said, "Let's get up then." After doing it, Zhao Fu had recovered his mental strength and led the three women onwards. There were not many monsters here, and most of them were remnant demonic creatures that could be easily dealt with by Zhao Fu. Following this, Zhao Fu and the others came to another region. Apart from a pile of corpses, there was nothing else, and the treasures had most likely been taken by someone else. Everyone could only continue forward. At that moment, a group of demon soldiers rushed out. This group of demon soldiers was not like the skeletons from before. Instead, they had bodies and pitch-black eyes. Their bodies gave off large amounts of demonic qi. Their strength was also far stronger than the ones outside. Zhao Fu was able to easily deal with these demon soldiers and continued onward. He could still hear the sounds of fighting ahead. It was most likely the previous team in front of them, but from the sounds, the situation was not optimistic. The battle was very intense, and terrifying shockwaves came from one direction, causing people's bodies to feel cold. The previous team was very strong, and the monsters they fought weren't weak either. Zhao Fu's ancestors, Dong Mei, and the other two women stayed here, and there wasn't much danger here. Zhao Fu hid his aura and carefully approached. He came to the front of a large hall, which was thousands of meters wide. There were massive stone pillars around it, making it look quite majestic. At the same time, Zhao Fu could clearly see what was going on. Within the hall, there was a demon king that was 3 meters tall and covered with powerful muscles. It had a blue horn and gave off a king's aura, and it was currently fighting with 5 people. There were 7 or 8 people on the ground, and they were either dead or heavily injured and didn't have much battle strength. There were 3 men and 2 women fighting. One of the men wore white clothes and had a clean face, one was quite handsome, and one looked quite vulgar. The 2 women were also extremely beautiful. One had a graceful figure and gave off a cold and noble aura, while the other had a fiery figure and gave off a bewitching aura. The sealed demon king most likely had extreme divine realm power, but because it was suppressed by the seal, it could only release divine realm power. The 5 people fighting with it only had world realm power, and this team was not something that Dong Mei's team could offend. If it wasn't for Zhao Fu's appearance, Dong Mei's team would have been killed. However, now that he could see the other side's strength, Zhao Fu did not have to be so careful. He waited by the side, planning to deal with both sides once they ran out of strength and obtain the final reward. Roar! However, the Demon King discovered Zhao Fu, and it roared as it slashed out with its claws, sending out 5 rays of cold light giving off darkness power towards Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu could only appear and block the Demon King's attack. Everyone else was quite startled as they looked at Zhao Fu. However, after sensing his cultivation, they found that he was only at the Earth realm, and they all let out sighs of relief. However, their situation was quite difficult. They had already lost 7 or 8 people, and even if the 5 of them worked together, they would not be able to stop the Demon King. As such, they would naturally die here. No one paid too much mind to Zhao Fu's appearance, as he would most likely be killed by the Demon King soon. What happened next exceeded everyone's expectations. After seeing Zhao Fu, the Demon King gave a savage and delighted smile and roared, "I'm going to eat you!" Following this, the Demon King madly attacked that person, leaving them to the side. This made everyone feel quite confused, and they could not understand why the Demon King would madly attack someone who was only at the Earth realm. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded out as an azure aura flame rushed up to the ceiling. Massive waves of killing intent flooded out in all directions, causing wild gales to blow, and the entire hall was covered by the azure aura flame. The Demon King, which had an incredibly powerful aura, was suppressed by the power of the 12 bronze soldiers. No matter how much the Demon King struggled, it was unable to break free. This caused everyone's expressions to fall ashen. This was the power of a nation armament, and it had reached the extreme divine realm. It was able to completely suppress the Demon King. Zhao Fu used his nation armament's power to suppress the Demon King and looked at the 5 people as he said coldly, "Hand over everything you just obtained." Everyone's hearts sank. The other side had directly expressed ill intent and did not have any friendly intentions. However, he had a nation armament, and they were not a match for him at all. Were they really going to hand over the things they had obtained with great difficulty? It's hard for them to do that. The wretched-looking young man turned into a ray of light and flew to the side. Zhao Fu coldly laughed and slashed out with his sword, cutting the wretched-looking young man in half. Blood and organs splattered all over the ground, and the surroundings fell deathly silent. The people who had been trying to escape stopped in their tracks. The handsome young man's expression was quite unsightly as he said, "Sir, if we really hand over the treasure, will you let us go?" Chapter 1455. Zhao Fu's ambiguous attitude caused the people's expressions to become quite grim, and they started to feel nervous and hesitant. They were worried that if they handed over their treasures, Zhao Fu would immediately kill them. At that moment a weak voice sounded out, "Sir, if you can save my daughter, I'm willing to become your female attendant and serve you." The person who spoke was a bewitchingly beautiful woman in a red dress. She lay on the ground and blood flowed out of her mouth, looking incredibly weak and heavily injured. Seeing that the people were about to run and completely disregard their injuries, her heart became incredibly cold. She could not rely on anyone else, and could only rely on herself to survive. Zhao Fu felt quite surprised, and he thought about it before lightly laughing and tossing a bottle of medicine to her. The bewitchingly beautiful woman had never thought that Zhao Fu would be so straightforward. Not only did he agree to her request, but he also gave her a healing medicinal pill. After receiving the medicinal pill in delight, the bewitchingly beautiful woman lightly sniffed it and found that it was an excellent healing medicinal pill. She immediately consumed it and started to recover from her injuries. Seeing this, a skinny young man lying on the ground quickly said, "Sir, I'm willing to submit to you." Zhao Fu was quite pleased as he tossed over a bottle of medicine, and the skinny young man received it in delight and started to recover from his injuries. There was also a slim and quiet-looking woman on the ground. She hesitated, but looking at the corpse next to her, she said, "Sir, I'm willing to become your female attendant and serve you. I'm willing to serve you as your maid. Please save my life." Hearing this, Zhao Fu also tossed over a bottle of medicine. Following this, Zhao Fu looked at the 4 people and said, "I've changed my mind. You only have 2 choices. You can either choose to die or submit to me." The 4 people had long since expected this, and they inwardly sighed as they half knelt on the ground and expressed their submission to Zhao Fu. Following this, Zhao Fu found out that they were not familiar with each other and had only gathered together because of the treasure trove. The skinny man was called Haley, the handsome-looking young man was called Shao Kani, and the clean-looking young man was called Nan Feng. The flirtatious woman was called Fu Lu, the quiet woman was called Su Ya, the cold woman was called Yang Shuqian, and the fiery woman was called Zhang Dongshu. Zhao Fu left behind restrictions in their bodies and obtained the treasures they had obtained before. There were 10 or so of great use, and they were all quite precious. They were all demonic attribute. After dealing with these things, Zhao Fu came before the Demon King pressed against the ground. The Demon King ferociously glared at Zhao Fu and loudly roared, "If it wasn't for the seal, I would have eaten you long ago. The aura you give off is simply too delicious. I've never met such a delicious person before." Zhao Fu naturally knew why. His divine bloodline was incredibly tempting to anyone, and Zhao Fu wanted to see if he could subdue this Demon King. With this Demon King, he would be of great help, and he would be able to take him to the demon domain and have another bodyguard. "Are you willing to submit to me? As long as you submit to me, I will release your seal." The Demon King loudly laughed and said with a trace of condescension, "You only have Earth realm cultivation and you want to subdue me? If it wasn't for your nation armament, you would still be in my stomach. Also, do you think I would submit to food?" Zhao Fu felt quite angry and prepared to go up and teach the Demon King a lesson. Boom! A wave of demonic qi exploded out from Zhao Fu's body, and Zhao Fu could not control it at all. Zhao Fu's eyes disappeared, and two black rose-like flowers appeared, giving off a strange demonic energy. A sense of hunger filled his mind, and Zhao Fu completely lost control of his body as he leapt at the Demon King like a beast. He opened his mouth and bit down on the Demon King's body. Zhao Fu's head twisted as blood spurted out. Zhao Fu tore off a piece of flesh and started to eat it. The Demon King looked quite confused. It had never thought that after eating countless people in its life, it would be eaten one day. Everyone else looked incredibly terrified. They had never thought that Zhao Fu would eat the Demon King raw, causing their hairs to stand on end. Arg! Zhao Fu continuously bit down on the Demon King's body, tearing off mouthful after mouthful of flesh and wolfing it down. The Demon King howled in pain and continuously struggled, but it could not break free at all, and pieces of flesh were still torn off by Zhao Fu. The scene was incredibly gory and cruel, and no one dared to look at it. In the end, the Demon King could not endure the pain and started to beg Zhao Fu for mercy. However, Zhao Fu did not seem to hear it and continued to madly eat the Demon King. In the end, the Demon King was eaten in front of everyone, leaving behind only black blood, bones, and some organs. Zhao Fu lay on the ground, looking incredibly pained as he continuously howled like a wild beast. Massive amounts of demonic qi continuously flowed out of his body, but it did not dissipate and instead condensed. The two black flowers in his eyes gave off intense black light, and the demonic qi continuously condensed until it formed a terrifying monster. This monster was 3 meters tall and had a long body. Its arms were very long and they reached the ground. It had a mouth that was even bigger than its head and was filled with sharp teeth. There was also an eye in the middle of its mouth. The monster condensed, opened its mouth, and sucked in the Demon King's bones and organs on the ground before swallowing them in one gulp. Following this, the monster looked at everyone with one eye, and in that moment, everyone's bodies froze as if they had fallen into icy water. They felt an extreme sense of terror. "Will we be eaten?" everyone thought to themselves. Luckily, the monster only looked at them and did not do anything, and Zhao Fu gradually regained consciousness. Looking at the blood on his body, as well as the taste and bits of flesh in his mouth, Zhao Fu understood what had happened and turned to look at the monster beside him. Zhao Fu knew what this was. It was called the Evil Flower Demon and was a monster born from the evil spirit Abyss Flower. It specialized in eating demonic beasts and could devour almost all demonic beasts. Even though it was only 3 meters long, it could devour 1,000-meter-long demon beasts and would not explode. Instead, it would be instantly digested, and the demonic beasts it devoured would provide an endless amount of demonic qi for Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu waved his hand and the evil flower demon turned into demonic qi and dissipated. As long as Zhao Fu willed it, it would once again condense, which was quite convenient. Wiping away the blood on his face, Zhao Fu looked at Zhao Fu and the others, who looked at Zhao Fu in terror. They were even more afraid of Zhao Fu than before because they had never thought that Zhao Fu would eat the incredibly ferocious Demon King. Now, they were worried that they would be eaten. Zhao Fu lightly laughed and said, "Don't worry, I won't do anything to you. I won't do anything to you. Now, let's leave together." Chapter 1456. Because Dong Mei and the other two women were waiting outside, they did not know what had happened. Seeing that Zhao Fu had brought out so many people, they felt quite surprised. Moreover, those people seemed to be quite afraid of Zhao Fu, and their cultivations were much stronger than theirs. If they encountered such a group, they would definitely die and would not be able to resist at all. They did not know how Zhao Fu had subdued them and made them fear him so much. Everyone left the mountain and went to the town at the foot of the mountain. Because Zhao Fu was still covered with blood and the others looked quite wretched, they found an inn to rest for a while and recover their strength. They also washed up and changed into new clothes. Intense sounds continuously sounded out in the room as Zhao Fu started to enjoy the women. The sun gradually rose over the mountain, and golden sunlight shined down on the ground. The air was fresh and there was a thin mist. A new day had arrived. Zhao Fu woke up, and looking at the women sleeping soundly on the bed, he smiled and woke them up. The bewitching Fu Lu lazily hugged Zhao Fu and said, "Husband, aren't you going to sleep for a bit longer? I'll serve you later." Zhao Fu smiled and nodded. "I still have things to do, so I'll be leaving soon." Dong Mei sweetly lay in Zhao Fu's embrace and said softly, "Husband, can you bring us along? That way we can serve you every day and take care of you." Zhao Fu shook his head and refused, saying, "I'm heading to the demon domain, and there's still a long way to go. I don't know what dangers there will be, but you can all head to the Mountain River Kingdom. Just tell Shan Luoshui that you're my women." The women felt quite shocked. They had never thought that Zhao Fu knew Shan Luoshui. They knew that the Mountain River Kingdom was one of the most powerful factions here, so they felt quite curious about Zhao Fu's identity. However, Zhao Fu did not say much to them for now and had them head to the Mountain River Kingdom with him. He then headed towards the demon domain by himself and did not bring anyone else. Zhao Fu felt that the world realm was still too weak, and if he brought a divine realm expert, it would be of some help to the demon domain. 5 or 6 days later, Zhao Fu stopped by a small stream to rest. A small mouse dragged a small spirit fruit in front of Zhao Fu and chirped nonstop. Zhao Fu was slightly surprised as he looked at this palm-sized, purple-haired, purple-eyed mouse. He was surprised that it was so intelligent. At this time, Zhao Fu was already close to the heaven domain. The spirit energy here was extremely abundant, so the creatures here also had a strong intelligence. However, this little mouse was too smart, and was not afraid that he would eat it. The little mouse in front of him had the strength of a Tier 1 spirit fruit, and the spirit fruit it was dragging was also a Tier 1 spirit fruit. Zhao Fu did not have the ability to understand what it was saying, but he felt that it was fate. Zhao Fu casually took out a Tier 3 spirit pill and gave it to it. Following this, the little fellow naturally came up to Zhao Fu, and Zhao Fu thought about it and decided to bring it along. He did not know how long he would have to travel, and bringing this little fellow along would be able to relieve some of his depression. Zhao Fu also gave it a name, Purple Moon. About 10 days later, Zhao Fu finally arrived at the demon domain. Sensing the dense demonic qi around him, Zhao Fu deeply breathed in and felt quite comfortable. Eating the Demon King and awakening the evil flower demon was quite a pleasant surprise, but it was far from enough to awaken the demon star. Now that he had stepped into the demon domain, he would definitely be able to satisfy the demon star's need. Zhao Fu did not have a destination, so he headed towards the historical remnant. He slowed down and was not as impatient as before. His main goal was to find things that contained large amounts of demonic qi. Purple Moon had eaten its fill of spirit pills and was sleeping soundly in Zhao Fu's embrace. Over the past few days, it had not been tired at all and was instead quite happy. After walking for a while, when they passed by a large mountain, Zhao Fu was stopped by a few bandit-like people. As bandits of the demon domain, they all had stage 4 cultivation, or else they would not be able to survive in the demon domain. "Boy! Hurry up and hand over your valuables after seeing us lords," a ferocious-looking big man said loudly to Zhao Fu. The demon domain was filled with demons, and looking at these demons, Zhao Fu could not help but feel hungry. He licked his lips and wanted to eat them. At the same time, after entering the demon domain, the evil flower demon had become incredibly lively and excited. Facing the bandits, it also wanted to eat them, and it was dozens of times more intense than Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu shook his head and cast aside the thought of eating them. Zhao Fu did not want to become someone who ate demons, or at least not himself. Seeing Zhao Fu ignore them and shake his head, the bandits furiously raised their weapons and charged at Zhao Fu. Sensing these people charging at him, Zhao Fu's body gave off countless traces of demonic qi, and the 3-meter-tall evil flower demon appeared beside Zhao Fu, looking at the incoming bandits excitedly and savagely. Seeing the evil flower demon appear, the bandits instinctively felt afraid. For some reason, their hairs stood on end and their bodies froze, not daring to take another step forward. Zhao Fu coldly looked at the bandits and said, "Eat them!" Hearing Zhao Fu's order, the evil flower demon gave a terrifying laugh and swung its long arms. Its arms continuously grew longer and quickly flew out, and its palms turned into 2 large mouths filled with fangs. A few of the bandits had a look of fear on their faces as they turned around and fled. "Arg! Arg!" 2 blood-curdling screams rang out as the 2 slowest people were bitten by 2 huge mouths. The mouths were more than a meter wide, and could bite half of a person in one bite. The teeth were extremely sharp and could easily bite through flesh. Blood sprayed everywhere as more than half of the 2 bandits' bodies were eaten, and some of their arms and legs were bitten off and fell to the ground. The 2 arms continued to quickly grow out, and in just an instant, they caught up to a few bandits. A few screams sounded out, and a few bandits were also eaten. Moreover, they came back to eat the severed limbs, displaying the traditional virtue of not wasting. After eating these bandits, the evil flower demon's body did not change at all, nor did it seem full. It was as if it had inhaled and then exhaled. However, Zhao Fu found that eating these demon race people could not only strengthen the evil spirit Abyss Flower's power, but it could also provide a large amount of demonic qi for the demon star. If it ate enough, it might be able to awaken the demon star. After discovering this, Zhao Fu could not help but feel delighted. This matter would be much easier to deal with. Since there were bandits here, perhaps there was a stronghold. Thinking about that, Zhao Fu gave a pure smile. He would be able to have a feast there. Chapter 1457. There were not many people in this stronghold, only around 2,000 people. Zhao Fu did not feel any fear and walked towards the stronghold. Seeing Zhao Fu walk over by himself, the 20 or so bandits guarding the stronghold immediately became wary, and one of them called out, "Who are you? Why have you come to our stronghold?" Zhao Fu did not reply and only coldly looked at them as his body gave off countless traces of demonic qi. The evil flower demon's body appeared beside him, and it savagely looked at the bandits with one eye before swinging out its 2 hands. Arg! Pained cries sounded out as the 2 hands continuously stretched out, and the palms turned into 2 large mouths. They were incredibly fast, and before anyone could react, 10 or so people had been devoured, leaving behind a pool of blood. The other bandits cried out in terror. Zhao Fu coldly laughed as he led the evil flower demon forwards. At that moment, countless bandits rushed out of the stronghold, holding weapons as they rushed at Zhao Fu. "Have a good meal." Zhao Fu smiled as he said to the evil flower demon beside him. Hearing Zhao Fu's order, The evil flower demon happily nodded before opening its large mouth. It was 2 meters wide and 1 meter tall, and it sucked towards the incoming bandits, causing a massive suction force to explode out. Countless bandits had just rushed up when their bodies were sucked into the evil flower demon's mouth, and they did not react at all. In just an instant, 500 or 600 bandits had been devoured. The other bandits who had been lucky enough to escape this calamity had pale faces, and they cried out in terror as they ran away. Zhao Fu brought the evil flower demon into the stronghold. There were some elderly, children, and women, but Zhao Fu did not mind them and said to the evil flower demon, "Eat them all." The evil flower demon waited for Zhao Fu's order, and it swung out its hands and started to hunt down the escaping bandit. It ate them bit by bit, leaving behind a ground covered in blood and severed limbs. Bastard! A curse sounded out as a woman holding a large saber gave off a ferocious aura as she shot down from the sky and slashed at Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu disdainfully stretched out a hand, and countless traces of demonic qi swirled around his palm. Zhao Fu vigorously pushed, and a formless and massive power sent the woman flying. The woman fell more than 10 meters away, blood flowing out of her mouth. Zhao Fu also saw her appearance clearly. She was dressed in tight clothes, her hair was tied into a ponytail, her figure was alluring, her face was very beautiful, but there was a slender scar on her face, making her look very fierce. The woman found that she was not a match for Zhao Fu at all. She watched as Zhao Fu's hands continuously stretched out and devoured the stronghold's people, regardless of whether they were men or women, old or young. The stronghold fell into chaos, and countless people ran in fear. "Stop. I don't know how I offended you, but please let them go," the woman said coldly. A black-clothed young man flew out from the side with a serious expression. Seeing the evil flower demon devour people, even though he did not know what it was, he instinctively felt fear. Zhao Fu stood there and laughed as he said, "You bandits, why should I spare you? My goal is to eat all of you." The woman and young man felt quite furious towards Zhao Fu's words, but they were not a match for Zhao Fu at all. The woman said hatefully, "I'm the leader of the stronghold. If you have any problems, come at me. Don't continue to kill them." Hearing this, Zhao Fu looked at her alluring figure and thought for a moment before having the evil flower demon stop. He gave a trace of an evil smile and walked towards the woman. Facing Zhao Fu's smile and gaze, the woman felt quite angry and prepared to fight. Even though she was not a match for Zhao Fu, she could not just stand there and let Zhao Fu kill her. However, the black-clothed young man suddenly acted, appearing beside Zhao Fu in a flash. The large saber in his hand gave off a cold light as it slashed towards Zhao Fu's head. Zhao Fu disdainfully stretched out his hand and grabbed the black-clothed young man's neck, instantly subduing him. Now that the evil flower demon's might was continuously providing demonic qi to Zhao Fu, it caused all of Zhao Fu's abilities to greatly increase, making him seem like an emperor among demons. At that moment, just as Zhao Fu was about to snap the young man's neck, the woman hurriedly cried out, "Let go of my little brother, and I'll do anything you want." Zhao Fu looked at the woman and said calmly, "Throw away your weapon." The woman did not hesitate and hatefully glared at Zhao Fu as she threw her large saber to the side. Zhao Fu smiled and threw the young man to the side before picking up the woman and flying into the hall. Even though the black-clothed young man and the other villagers had escaped, their expressions were quite unsightly as they furiously looked towards the hall. This was because intense sounds could be heard from within the hall. Zhao Fu had not touched a woman for 10 or so days, and his emperor-killer curse was about to flare up. Zhao Fu had come to the demon domain and did not know much about this place, so he needed someone who knew about this place. As such, he chose this woman. "Are you all right?" Zhao Fu asked caringly as he looked at the woman in his arms who he had ravaged for a few hours. Her face was pale as she breathed raggedly. The woman coldly looked at Zhao Fu and ignored Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu smiled and sent the 6 desires demonic qi into her body, causing her face to quickly become ruddy and her aura to become stronger. Where is this place? Are there any powerful demonic beasts or precious demonic medicines nearby? Facing Zhao Fu's questions, the woman's expression was cold, and she did not say anything. Zhao Fu looked quite displeased and said with a trace of threat, "There are still many people in your stronghold. If you don't mind, I'll kill them all." "You're despicable," the woman said angrily. Zhao Fu stretched out his hand and lifted the woman's snow-white chin as he said coldly, "You're my woman now, so you'd best be obedient. I don't want to do anything to you, but don't force me." The woman angrily glared at Zhao Fu, and there were tears in her eyes. She felt quite wronged and uncomfortable. Zhao Fu could not help but comfort her, and the woman's attitude became gentler. Zhao Fu found out that her name was Yi Yi. At the same time, Zhao Fu obtained the information that he wanted. This was only the boundary of the demon domain, and it was a chaotic region. The factions there were quite complicated, and there were no restrictions at all. Murder, robbery, and all sorts of crimes were committed. It also had a famous name, which was the Multitude Demon Region. As for what powerful demonic beasts there were, Yi Yi did not know. However, there was a faction nearby that had a very powerful demonic treasure, called the 10,000 Demon Bloodstone. It was said that this 10,000 Demon Bloodstone was condensed from the blood of countless demons and had immense power. During battle, it could be used on soldiers, causing them to gain even more power. Chapter 1458. Come with me and leave this place. Don't tell me you want to stay in a stronghold like this forever, Zhao Fu said as he smiled at Yi Cha. Yi Cha said coldly, I'm not leaving with a bastard like you. Zhao Fu smiled as he said, this stronghold of yours can be destroyed at any moment, so it's better to disband it and find a good place for those people. Moreover, with your power and abilities, staying here is a waste. Yi Cha lay in Zhao Fu's embrace. Hearing Zhao Fu's approval of her, she felt a trace of joy and thought about the stronghold's current situation. In the end, Yi Cha nodded and agreed to disband the stronghold. She angrily hit Zhao Fu a few times and said, I can leave with you, but you killed so many of our people, so you have to give them an explanation. I want you to give them a large sum of money. Zhao Fu lightly laughed. This was not a problem at all, so he directly agreed. Following this, the two of them put on their clothes and went outside. There were many people gathered here, looking at Zhao Fu in fear. Of course, there was also anger because not only had Zhao Fu killed their people, but he had also violated their stronghold lord. However, Yi Cha's following words caused everyone to feel quite confused. They had never thought that their stronghold lord would disband the stronghold. Yi Cha's little brother, Yi Ji, immediately objected. Big sis, did he use some sort of method to bewitch you? Why did he do that? He treated you like that, yet you still want to leave with him. Hearing this, Yi Cha coldly replied, with the current situation of the stronghold, it's impossible for us to survive. Moreover, our strength is too weak. Today is a good example. I'll find a better place for them to go. Also, do you really want to stay in this stronghold for the rest of your life? Pass the rest of his life in an ordinary way? His identity is quite mysterious, and he's quite powerful. Following him is the best choice. Hearing this, Yi Ji felt quite speechless. Following this, Zhao Fu took out a large sum of money and gave it to Yi Cha. Yi Cha distributed the money to everyone and took them to a city to make them resident. Although Yi Ji was unwilling, he still followed his sister and left this place. The faction with the 10,000 demon blood stone only had the strength of half a world. In Yi Ye's eyes, it was already incredibly powerful. After all, having such a faction in the demon domain was even more difficult than conquering 2 worlds in the outer domains. This faction was also one of the weaker factions because the chaotic zone was very big. It was so big that it was shocking. The top factions here were not any weaker than the strength of an empire. For some reason, the multitude demon region had never been unified, and it had always been chaotic. Zhao Fu did not know why, but no one would not be tempted by such a large piece of land. What's more, it was in the heaven domain. Because that faction was nearby, Zhao Fu quickly reached it. He did not directly rush in and steal the 10,000 demon bloodstone, as that would cause too much of a commotion. Moreover, this was the heaven domain and there were many Emperor Heaven Realm experts, so Zhao Fu did not dare to be too arrogant. However, Zhao Fu had some information about that faction, and it was within Zhao Fu's capabilities, so it was not too dangerous. After hearing that the leader of that faction would come out to hunt in 2 days, Zhao Fu started to wait. After hearing that Zhao Fu was going to kill the leader of that faction and steal the 10,000 demon bloodstone, Yiji looked incredibly shocked. He felt that Zhao Fu was simply too daring and even a bit crazy. With his strength, he did not dare to offend the leader of that faction, and he would have to kneel and submit. Yi leaned against Zhao Fu. After being nourished by Zhao Fu many times, Yi's aura had become more seductive and mature. Their relationship gradually became better, and she was not too surprised. After hearing about the 10,000 demon bloodstone from Zhao Fu, she knew that Zhao Fu had come to steal it. She trusted that Zhao Fu would be able to do it. This was because she instinctively felt that Zhao Fu's identity was quite terrifying, and his aura was incredibly terrifying. No matter if it was in terms of aura, bloodline, or fate, she could not resist at all. She was suppressed, and she instinctively submitted to him. Be careful. Yi lay in Zhao Fu's embrace and looked at Zhao Fu with her beautiful eyes as she said with a trace of concern. Zhao Fu nodded and prepared to assassinate the leader of that faction. Boom! In order to quickly end the battle, Zhao Fu exploded out with his nation armament's power. A terrifying sword light slashed out, giving off a berserk and ferocious sword chi as it slashed towards the leader of that faction. The leader of that faction had been leading a group of soldiers to chase after a demon tiger, but he had never thought that such a terrifying power would suddenly attack. Now, Qin had 6 worlds, and the power he exploded out with was incredibly terrifying. The leader of that faction did not dare to have divine realm cultivation, and as expected, he was killed in a single strike. The soldiers were also cut into pieces by the sword light, and blood and corpses littered the ground. A circular stone giving off a black light and powerful demonic chi floated in the air. This stone was most likely the 10,000 demon bloodstone, and Zhao Fu had never thought that it would be fused with the leader of that faction. If he could not kill him, he would not be able to steal it. Kill him! He killed our leader! Over 10,000 demon race soldiers quickly arrived, and they had stage 4 strength. Seeing Zhao Fu kill their leader, they looked furious and raised their weapons as they roared and charged over. Facing these 10,000 demon race soldiers, Zhao Fu disdainfully laughed and released the evil flower demon as he said, "I'll let you eat your fill." The evil flower demon happily opened its massive mouth and sucked at the incoming soldiers, and a massive suction force exploded out. The demon race soldiers' expressions fell and they unleashed energy barriers, but it was completely useless. Their bodies were quickly sucked into the evil flower demon's mouth. Some of the demon race soldiers on the outside hurriedly shot out arrows, which contained immense force as they flew towards Zhao Fu. Bang! 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 Without needing Zhao Fu to do anything, the evil flower demon released a defensive barrier to block the incoming arrows and used even more strength to suck in the demon race soldiers. In the end, only a few dozen of the 10,000 demon race soldiers managed to escape, and the rest were all eaten by the evil flower demon. They were all stage 4 demon race soldiers and contained large amounts of demonic chi. Zhao Fu did not stay here because the enemy's army would arrive soon. He found a place with no one around and devoured the 10,000 demon bloodstone. A massive wave of demonic chi exploded out from Zhao Fu's body, and Zhao Fu looked incredibly pained as the evil spirit abyss flower in his eye sockets once again appeared. The massive wave of demonic qi continuously condensed around Zhao Fu, forming a terrifying 3-meter-tall monster. Chapter 1459. Looking at the second monster that had appeared, a look of delight appeared on Zhao Fu's face. This was not just because there were more monsters but also because the evil spirit abyss flower's abilities had reached the second stage. Moreover, the two monsters were even more powerful than before. With a wave of his hand, the two monsters turned into demonic qi and dissipated, returning to the city where Yi Jie was. Now, the faction was in chaos because the leader of the faction had died. Moreover, there was a person wearing a black cloak and leading a terrifying monster to devour the demon race. Their methods were extremely cruel and bloody, and the leader of the faction had been killed by that person. Yi Cha and Yi Ji naturally knew who it was, but they never thought that Zhao Fu would be able to kill the leader of a force so easily and cause such a huge commotion. When Zhao Fu returned, he quickly brought the two of them to the next location. Zhao Fu was not in a hurry to go to the historical remnant. He wanted to devour a large number of demon race people to continuously develop the evil spirit abyss flower's abilities and provide a large amount of demonic qi for the demon star. However, halfway there, Zhao Fu's group of 3 was stopped by 6 people. Their cultivations were all at the Saint Realm, and the person in the lead was at the Earth Realm. As expected, they were here to rob others. Zhao Fu hadn't been here for long, but he had already encountered them twice. This showed just how chaotic and cruel this place was. There were a total of 4 men and 2 women who stopped Zhao Fu's group. Of the 4 men, one was a ferocious-looking brawny man, one was an ordinary-looking middle-aged man, one was a vicious youth, and the last one was an ice-cold youth. Of the 2 women, one was wearing a red dress and was nestled in the bosom of the ferocious-looking man. Her appearance was extremely charming. The other had a slim figure and was not bad-looking, but she had a stern expression. The leader was the ferocious-looking big man. He had Earth Realm cultivation and he pointed at Zhao Fu domineeringly as he yelled, "Boy! Give us your valuables and the woman beside you to play with, and we'll let you go today." Facing so many powerful people, Yi Ji couldn't help but feel a bit nervous. However, Yi Yi coldly laughed. "You pieces of trash want to touch me? You don't even know that you're courting death." The big man's expression became furious as he cursed. "You bitch! Everyone, let's kill the 2 men first. You can play with the women as you wish." Suddenly, a wave of demonic qi spread out as a tall figure appeared behind the big man. It was a powerful demonic body and gave off an incredibly terrifying aura. Just as the burly man finished speaking, a figure suddenly appeared, causing the burly man's expression to change and his body to stiffen. Cold sweat trickled down his back as he felt a wave of fear. The evil flower demon stretched out its massive claws and grabbed the big man's head. It gave a savage smile and gripped, causing the big man's head to explode like a watermelon. Brain juice and blood splattered everywhere, and the woman in his embrace cried out and hid to the side. The demon grabbed the strong man's headless corpse, opened its mouth, and swallowed the strong man's corpse in a single gulp. It looked quite savage, and then it attacked the others. Everyone else looked terrified and did not understand what was going on. However, they knew that they had encountered a terrifying opponent, and they naturally did not have any thoughts of taking revenge for the big man. After all, they had gathered for the sake of profit, so they immediately scattered and ran. A wave of demonic qi once again spread out as an evil flower demon appeared behind Zhao Fu. It swung its hands and its 2 arms quickly stretched out, continuously becoming longer and longer. Its 2 palms became massive mouths that ferociously bit towards 2 people. The 2 people were given a fright and unleashed their defensive barriers, but a pair of illusory hands passed through their defensive barriers, causing the 2 people to feel quite confused. Before they could react, they were devoured by the two large mouths, causing blood to splatter everywhere. The other evil flower demon caught up to another person and a massive claw pierced through that person's chest before biting down, causing a large amount of blood to spurt out. In order to differentiate between the two evil flower demons, Zhao Fu named them long-armed evil flower demon and demonic evil flower demon. The long-armed evil flower demon's hands shot out and grabbed two women and brought them in front of Zhao Fu. The two women looked terrified, and the flirtatious woman pleaded, "Sir, as long as you don't kill me, I'm willing to do anything." The fierce-looking woman also said in fear, "Don't eat me. I'll submit to you." Yi glared at Zhao Fu in dissatisfaction. She understood why Zhao Fu was keeping these two women, and she said angrily, "Is it not enough to have me?" Zhao Fu lightly laughed, "It's nothing. It's just that he said he wanted to play with you, so I naturally have to play with his women." Yi angrily harumphed and crossed her arms as she turned her head to the side, ignoring Zhao Fu. Yi tactfully left, and soon intense sounds could be heard. He not only heard the two women's lewd cries, but he also heard his big sister's cries. "Thank you, sir, for spoiling me. You're 100 times more valiant than the previous men," the flirtatious woman said with a red face as she hugged Zhao Fu in infatuation. The fierce-looking woman's face was also red as she panted and did not say anything. Yi did not say anything and powerlessly lay in Zhao Fu's embrace. She did not look angry and instead looked quite happy. Zhao Fu found out the two women's names. The flirtatious woman was called Lu Li and the fierce-looking woman was called Yu Qingling. He also asked about this place and found out what factions, treasures, and demonic creatures were in this place. He found out that there was a terrifying demon wolf within a large mountain that often did evil everywhere. However, no one had been able to kill it, as it was incredibly cunning. If an enemy that was too powerful appeared, it would escape. Moreover, it was said that the demon wolf could take human form and liked beautiful men. It liked to capture them and play with them before eating them. However, the demon wolf was male. After hearing about this, Zhao Fu decided to head to that large mountain because Zhao Fu needed to devour high-grade demonic creatures. On the way to that large mountain, Zhao Fu encountered a few more groups of robbers, but they were all eaten by the evil flower demon. Zhao Fu destroyed a few bandit dens and ate 20,000 to 30,000 people, causing rumors to spread that there was a monster that specialized in eating demons. After a day or so, Zhao Fu and the others finally arrived at the large mountain. The aura that this place gave off was quite terrifying, and Ziyu, the little mouse, trembled in fear in Zhao Fu's embrace. A smile appeared on Zhao Fu's face because the more powerful the demon beast, the better. Now, Zhao Fu could clearly sense that the demon wolf was still within the mountain. However, in order to prevent it from escaping, Zhao Fu had to lure it out. Hearing that the demon wolf liked beautiful men, Zhao Fu lightly laughed and touched his face. He felt that he could use himself to lure the demon wolf, and with Zhao Fu's earth realm cultivation, it would be easy for the demon wolf to take the bait. Chapter 1460. Sir, you're abnormally handsome. It's the first time I've seen such a beautiful man. A black-haired, bare-chested young man with a wild look on his face smiled as he walked out, staring at Zhao Fu. By now, Zhao Fu had already taken off his cloak. With his peerless looks, he was confident that he could attract men, but using his looks to attract men felt quite strange. "You're the demon wolf?" Zhao Fu did not hold back and asked as he looked at the young man. This caused the young man to feel slightly surprised, but he could sense that Zhao Fu only had earth realm cultivation and that the others' cultivations were also quite low, so he did not feel any fear and smiled as he said, "I'm the demon wolf? Sir, since you know who I am, why haven't you left? Could it be that you've come for me? Could it be that you want to spend the night with me? If that's the case, I can spare the others. With your beauty, I can't bear to eat you." How about we become husband and wife, and you become my wife? I already have divine realm power and am about to break through to the extreme divine realm. If you follow me, I won't mistreat you." Hearing the demon wolf's words, Yi Yi and the other women could not help but lightly laugh. They had experienced how domineeringly Zhao Fu had taken them, and now there was a man saying such a thing to him. Zhao Fu did not feel angry and lightly smiled as he shook his head, saying, "I think you're mistaken. I've indeed come to find you, but I'm not here to spend the night with you. I'm here to eat you." The demon wolf's expression became cold, and he became wary because he found that after Zhao Fu knew of his power, there was nothing to be afraid of. With how cunning he was, he immediately disregarded everything and tried to run. However, Zhao Fu had already exploded out with his nation armament's power. A massive wave of power turned into a massive green hand that gave off terrifying power as it grabbed towards the demon wolf. The demon wolf's expression fell, and he revealed his true form. A 10,000-meter-long black wolf appeared in front of everyone. Its fur was like black iron and its eyes were pure black, and it gave off a terrifying aura. Zhao Fu's cyan hand changed from a claw to a slap. With a heavy strike, the demonic wolf's huge body was sent flying. Now, the demon wolf's strength had almost reached the extreme divine realm, and facing Zhao Fu's nation armament, it was not weak at all. The demon wolf was sent flying and smashed into the ground, creating a large crater. The ground violently trembled and leaves rustled down. The demon wolf roared and a shockwave rushed towards Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu casually waved his hand and released a defensive barrier to block this ferocious chi wave. However, Demon Wolf did not want to continue fighting with Zhao Fu. He leapt forwards, planning to escape to the side. With his cunning personality, it was impossible for him to fight with Zhao Fu, who was just a bit stronger than him. Clang, 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 massive, cold, gray chains shot out from the ground, giving off a ferocious aura as they bound up the demon wolf in the air. They then vigorously pulled, dragging the demon wolf down from the ground. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out and the ground shook violently. Dust flew everywhere and rocks flew everywhere as a huge crater appeared. Roar! The demon wolf furiously roared and vigorously struggled, breaking 10 or so chains. Zhao Fu's cross-shaped pupil in his right eye quickly spun, increasing the power of the chains and summoning the 12 metal colossi. The 12 metal colossi gave off an enormous aura of killing and conquering as they floated around the demon wolf, giving off a terrifying suppressive power as they pressed the demon wolf to the ground. The demon wolf furiously roared and struggled with all of its strength, but it could not break free at all. Seeing this, Zhao Fu gave a satisfied smile. 2 waves of demonic chi flowed out of Zhao Fu's body, forming 2 evil flower demons. Zhao Fu said coldly, "Eat it. Leave its heart for me." Zhao Fu wanted to use the demon wolf to create a 3rd evil flower demon. The 2 evil flower demons had already eaten tens of thousands of people, providing a large amount of demonic chi and flesh power. Now that he had the demon wolf, he should be able to create a 3rd evil flower demon. If he could create a 3rd evil flower demon, the evil spirit abyss flower would reach its 3rd stage, and the demon star would be able to obtain large amounts of demonic chi and be 1 step closer to awakening. Moreover, to create an evil flower demon, Zhao Fu had to personally devour it. After all, the evil flower demons were demonic creatures that had come from Zhao Fu's body, and if the evil flower demons devoured them, they would not be able to create another evil flower demon. However, because the demon wolf was 10,000 meters long, it was impossible for Zhao Fu to eat it all, so he had the 2 evil flower demons leave the most powerful heart for him. After hearing Zhao Fu's orders, the 2 evil flower demons excitedly charged at the demon wolf and opened their massive mouths as they bit towards it. Seeing that Zhao Fu really was going to eat it, the demon wolf thought to itself and said with a look of fear, "Don't eat me. I can submit to you and serve you." Zhao Fu looked at the demon wolf's cunning appearance and the rumors about it, so he didn't believe it and decided to eat it. The two evil flower demons leapt up and opened their mouths as wide as they could, biting off a large piece of flesh. Blood sprayed everywhere as the demon wolf howled in pain. Roar! 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 The demon wolf continuously howled in pain, causing countless birds and beasts to flee. The two evil flower demons continuously ate the demon wolf's body, causing blood to continuously fly everywhere like a rain of blood. "I'm really willing to submit to you, don't eat me," the demon wolf howled in pain. It really wanted to submit, but it was a pity that Zhao Fu did not believe it. Hearing the howls and seeing Zhao Fu calmly watching all of this, Yi Yi and the others realized just how cold-blooded and cruel Zhao Fu was. The people passing by heard the howls and did not dare to get close. However, some people mustered up their courage and looked into the distance. They found that the terrifying demon wolf was being eaten by two terrifying monsters. This news once again spread, and the news of the monster devouring the demon race spread further and further. By now, many people knew about this matter. Zhao Fu did not know about any of this. The two evil flower demons ate the massive demon wolf, leaving behind a 10-meter wide heart. Zhao Fu leapt at it and madly ate, looking quite terrifying as he was covered with blood. However, the heart was too big and Zhao Fu could not finish it. Even though Zhao Fu could quickly digest it, he still called the two evil flower demons to eat the demon wolf's heart at once. After devouring the demon wolf's heart, Zhao Fu once again looked incredibly pained. Evil spirit abyss flowers appeared in his eyes, and a large amount of demonic qi flowed out. This wave of demonic qi continuously condensed, forming a demon wolf. This demon wolf was roughly the same as the one that had been eaten. It had black fur, a pair of pure black eyes, and a pair of black claws that gave off a cold light. Chapter 1461. Now that Zhao Fu had condensed a third evil flower demon and the evil spirit abyss flower had reached its third stage, Zhao Fu could make the evil flower demons 10 or so meters tall, and their devouring speed and power had greatly increased. Moreover, the evil flower demons could leave Zhao Fu's side and freely move around within 100 kilometers, and they would automatically dissipate if they went past 100 kilometers. This was because the core of the evil flower demons was Zhao Fu, and without Zhao Fu's power, they would naturally dissipate. The three evil flower demons sent over incredibly hungry thoughts, and Zhao Fu thought about it before having them find food for themselves. The three evil flower demons excitedly became 10 or so meters tall and charged in 3 different directions. The evil flower demon found a 10 or so meter long demonic bear and leapt at it. It opened its mouth and bit towards the demonic bear, while the demonic bear furiously raised its paw and slapped back. However, the paw passed through the evil flower demon's body, and the evil flower demon was like an illusion. This caused the demonic bear to feel quite startled, but in the next moment, it cried out in pain because the evil flower demon had ferociously bitten into its body and ripped off a large piece of flesh. The demonic bear was immediately heavily injured and was unable to retaliate at all, and it was directly devoured by the evil flower demon. The long-armed evil flower demon stared at a large group of goats and opened its mouth and sucked, devouring the terrified goats. Its arms continuously stretched out and devoured the countless fleeing goats. The wolf-like evil flower demon rushed into a town and opened its massive mouth, devouring countless residents. Its massive mouth bit down, devouring 7 or 8 people, causing blood to fly everywhere and limbs to fly everywhere. The terrified residents desperately ran, and some soldiers shot out arrows. However, the arrows passed through the evil flower demon's body and were unable to harm it at all, and the evil flower demon's body seemed to be an illusion. The evil flower demon madly devoured residents, and after coming to a street, it opened its massive mouth and sucked. Countless residents were sucked into the evil flower demon's mouth, after which they stopped moving and were instantly digested. The evil flower demons had the ability to change between reality and illusion, and they had been created from Zhao Fu's body. Zhao Fu had a divine bloodline, so no matter how powerful the evil flower demons were, they were useless against them. Zhao Fu didn't care about those things. He found a stream and washed the blood off his body. Then, he went to Yi Cha and the others. Yi Cha and the others were instinctively afraid of Zhao Fu. They couldn't figure out what kind of person Zhao Fu was. Zhao Fu smiled and took the 3 women into his arms. After a good time, the 3 women weren't afraid of Zhao Fu anymore. "Husband, where are we going now?" Luli was a charming woman. She looked at Zhao Fu with a flushed face and asked Zhao Fu in a charming manner. Zhao Fu thought for a moment before replying, "Let's leave this place first. We've caused quite a ruckus here and will attract some people's attention. Also, I don't have a destination, so I can only continue onwards. Also, do you know if there are any powerful demonic beasts or demonic treasures there?" The fierce-looking woman, Yu Qingling, hesitated before saying, "My father has a demon god corpse." Zhao Fu looked delighted. The demon god's corpse was undoubtedly a treasure that contained massive demonic energy, and he quickly asked about the demon god's corpse. It turned out that her father was the leader of a faction, but her mother had died early and her stepmother often abused her. She had escaped when she was very young, and it had been quite difficult for her to survive until now. She often went with other people to kill others, which was why she had such a vicious personality. Even though Yu Qingling's father treated her coldly, Yu Qingling hoped that she would not kill him. Obtaining the demon god corpse would be enough. This demon god corpse was a supreme treasure of their faction, and it could allow their faction to obtain demon god power. It was incredibly important. Hearing this, Zhao Fu decided to go to Yu Qingling's father's faction. The 3 evil flower demons continuously devoured, and the people and beasts in the surroundings were either eaten or had already escaped. Zhao Fu thought about it and decided that he could control the evil flower demons from 100 kilometers away, so he did not summon them back. He allowed them to continuously devour and obtain large amounts of demonic qi. Zhao Fu led his people away and had them follow behind him. 2 days later, Zhao Fu and the others arrived at a city. This was within Yu Qingling's faction, and her father's faction was only an ordinary faction. Zhao Fu found an inn in the city and planned to gain a better understanding of this faction so that it would be easier for him to take action. At that moment, a few people were discussing something within the inn, and someone said with a trace of fear, "AI. Have you heard? Recently, monsters that specialize in eating demons have appeared, and many people have been eaten. They're incredibly cruel and cold-blooded, and they won't let off anyone alive. Is that true? Is it the doing of some demonic beast? How could there be such a monster that dares to so wantonly devour demons? And it's in the demon domain. It's definitely true. It seems that hundreds of thousands of people have been eaten nearby. Do you know the demon wolf from Demon Wolf Mountain? He was eaten alive by that monster and died incredibly miserably. What kind of monster is that? It dares to eat us demons. Aren't you looking down on our devil race too much? I don't know, but the rumors say that it's incredibly terrifying. It devours anyone it sees and never seems to be full. Its stomach doesn't change at all even after eating over 10,000 people. Now that place has escaped somewhere else. I heard that the monster is coming towards us, and the people in the nearby villages have all been eaten. Our city lord has sent people to investigate. What? It's coming to us? Should we leave quickly? If even that demon wolf can eat that monster, our city lord will just be sending an army to their death. Yes, let's quickly finish eating and leave. Hearing this, Zhao Fu had never thought that it would cause such a commotion. It seemed that everyone in the surroundings knew about this, and it was most likely that some factions had noticed this as well. After thinking about it, Zhao Fu had the 3 evil flower demons disappear. After all, this was the heaven domain, and it was best to be careful. The people in the surroundings naturally did not know that Zhao Fu was the master of that demon-devouring monster. Following this, Zhao Fu easily obtained information about this faction and Yu Qingling's family. Now, her father had married 2 more wives and 2 concubines, and he had 4 sons and 2 daughters. After so many years, no one remembered Yu Qingling. Now, Yu Qingling's little brother, who was her stepmother's son, was the young lord. He was handsome and had decent abilities. He was also quite strong and had the support of many people, and he was quite famous. Chapter 1462. When Zhao Fu arrived at the Yu residence, he discovered that the 4th young master of the Yu residence was recruiting people. After thinking about it, he took off his cloak and reported his name. Of course, it was not his real name, but a random one, Moyi. Normally, the 4th young master was arrogant and domineering, and he was also a bit stupid. Out of the 4 legatees, he was the one who was the least favored. However, it felt like he was easier to control. This time, he was recruiting subordinates, and Zhao Fu wanted to use this opportunity to blend in and use this 4th young master to obtain the demon god's corpse. After reporting his name, Zhao Fu followed the servant to the backyard. There were already 20 or so people gathered there. Most of them were in the saint realm, and there were a few in the sky human realm. As for Zhao Fu, his earth human realm cultivation was quite ordinary. On a chair in the courtyard sat an arrogant young man in luxurious clothes, watching the 2 duel. When everyone saw Zhao Fu arrive, they all turned their attention to Zhao Fu. Ever since Zhao Fu had become a divine bloodline, his appearance and aura had been raised to the pinnacle of the world. Zhao Fu did not want to attract too much attention, so he often wore a cloak. Now that he was applying, he naturally could not wear a cloak. I am Moyi. I pay my respects to the young master. Zhao Fu walked up to the young man and cupped his hands in greeting. The finely dressed youth was called Yunnan, and he was the Yu family's 4th young master. He was the youngest of the Yu family's children. Seeing such a handsome and extraordinary man bow to him, Yunnan couldn't help but feel proud, and he immediately fell in love with Zhao Fu. "All right. This young master will accept you," Yunnan Kai said with a smile. A servant at the side reminded, "Young master, we don't know how strong Moyi is, so why don't we have him fight with someone else? Since young master likes him so much, if he's strong, young master can focus on nurturing him and make him your personal guard." Hearing this, Yunnan smiled and nodded as he said, "Moyi, this young master wants to see how strong you are. If you perform well, this young master will put you in an important position." Zhao Fu smiled and casually pointed at a young man with sky human stage cultivation. The young man was somewhat displeased that Zhao Fu, an earth human stage cultivator, had come to challenge him. The 2 of them came to an empty space, and the young man's expression was quite savage as he clenched his fists and rushed forwards incredibly quickly. In just an instant, he had arrived in front of Zhao Fu and punched towards Zhao Fu's handsome face. The young man wanted to destroy Zhao Fu's attractive face. Bang! A muffled sound rang out as the young man was sent flying. Just as he was about to attack, Zhao Fu's lightning-fast punch sent him flying. The young man flew back more than 10 meters before crashing to the ground and coughing up a large mouthful of blood. He angrily pointed at Zhao Fu and wanted to curse, but before he could say anything, he fainted. Everyone cried out. They had never thought that Zhao Fu, with his earth realm cultivation, would be able to instantly kill a heaven realm expert with a single punch. This kind of power was quite terrifying. Zhao Fu looked quite calm. Even someone at the harmony realm would not be able to take a few blows from Zhao Fu. Yunnan happily stood up, looking as if he had found a treasure, and he loudly laughed as he said, "Mo ye. This young master will now appoint you as my personal bodyguard." Zhao Fu gave a trace of a smile and cupped his hands as he said, "Thank you, young master." Following this, Zhao Fu followed a servant around because he wanted to familiarize himself with the environment and the things that he had to pay attention to. The servant told Zhao Fu in detail because Zhao Fu was now one of Yunnan's favorite. At that moment, a mature-figured, good-looking woman with a trace of flirtatiousness walked over with a few maids. The servant immediately bowed and said, "Third madam." Zhao Fu also bowed, and he understood who this beautiful woman was. She was Yu Qingling's father, Yu Ye's third wife. She was called Qiu Xueli, and she was Yunnan's mother. Qiu Xueli originally did not pay much mind, but when her gaze fell on Zhao Fu, her eyes lit up. She felt an alluring aura flow towards her, causing her face to become slightly red and her eyes to be filled with lustful light. "Who is he?" Qiu Xueli asked the servant with a trace of flirtatiousness. The servant replied, "Third madam, this is the fourth young master's newest personal bodyguard, and this lowly one is taking him around to learn about the Yu residence." I understand. All of you can leave. I have something to ask him." Qiu Xueli lightly nodded and looked at Zhao Fu, her beautiful eyes seeming to be able to drip water. Hearing this, the servants all left. A trace of a smile appeared on Qiu Xueli's face, and she said to Zhao Fu, "Come with me." Zhao Fu nodded and followed Qiu Xueli to her room. After entering the room, Qiu Xueli no longer hid herself and gave a flirtatious smile as she stroked Zhao Fu's face and kissed Zhao Fu. She wrapped her arms around Zhao Fu's waist and said flirtatiously, "You're simply too beautiful. What kind of aura do you give off? You have to take responsibility for seducing my heart." Zhao Fu smiled as he hugged Qiu Xueli and walked towards the bed. After going at it intensely, Qiu Xueli's face was completely red as she tightly hugged Zhao Fu and said, "Why didn't you appear earlier? I feel like I've lived my life for nothing." Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "You're such a slut." Qiu Xueli's face became red as she thought about how wild she had been just then. She said somewhat angrily, "I'm not that kind of woman. It's the first time I've done it with someone other than my husband. You were the one who seduced me, or else I wouldn't have been so weak." Zhao Fu lightly laughed and knew the reason. At that moment there was a knock on the door and Yunnan's voice sounded out, "Mother, have you seen my guard? Did you see that guard of mine? The servants said that you called him over for questioning. Why hasn't he returned yet?" Qiu Xueli's face became red because Zhao Fu was currently lying on the bed and hugging her. Yunnan had never thought that the guard he had just recruited had already tasted his mother. "Nan look around, I sent him back a long time ago." Qiu Xueli did not want Yunnan to know about this, so she could only lie to him. Yunnan trusted Qiu Xueli, so he nodded and left. "Why are you still not leaving? If someone else finds out, you won't be able to keep your life. Next time you want to do it with me, just tell me in secret so that I can be prepared," Qiu Xueli said softly as she nestled in Zhao Fu's embrace. Zhao Fu had not achieved his goal, so he naturally would not leave. He said, "I want to know about the Yu family's matters, as well as the demon god's corpse." Hearing this, Qiu Xueli immediately became wary and said angrily, "All right, so you had an ulterior motive and even took my body, you scoundrel." You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.